interesting season, to say the least, for the Lions of John Tyler High School. 3 regular season losses meant a third-place finish in the always competitive District 12 5A. But in the playoffs, the Lions have been explosive on offense and tough on defense in working their way back to the state championship round. On the other hand, the Katy Tigers have steamrolled through 15 opponents, whether it be on the ground or through the air, through a pair of 1,000-yard rushers and through the 61% passing completion rating of quarterback Jared Kaspar. Katy has been nigh to unstoppable. They're 15-0. Katy against 12-3 John Tyler. It's the 5A Division II Texas Bowl from the Astrodome. Next on Fox Sports Net. Weather-wise for late December in downtown Houston. But of course, the 5A Division II state championship will be decided indoors, inside the Reliant Astrodome. Today, Fox Sports Net and the University Interscholastic League present the 5A Division II Texas Bowl. The John Tyler Lions of Tyler taking on the Tigers from Katy. Walker, as we bring 5A Division II Texas Bowl today, Katy and John Tyler. John Tyler with a big postseason push to get here. Katy hasn't really been threatened that much. 15-0 this year, Shea Walker, and they have been unstoppable offensively and tough to move the ball against defensively.
You're absolutely right, Craig. Katy has been dominant on this whole run through this season. They're 15-0, and quite frankly, there's not been anybody that's really put up a challenge. These guys, with the exception maybe of last week when San Antonio Marshall took them down for a half, but again, Katy showing offensively and defensively why they're the superior team and just poured on 26 points, and here they are in the state finals again.
Well, in addition to the fact that their defense has been holding teams to just 7 points per game, the offense has been averaging 39 per game, and they got a lot of different weapons, starting with their senior quarterback, Jared Kaspar.
You take Jared Kaspar and what this guy has done and what he means to the Katy offense. He's a starter. He has not missed a start since the 7th grade season. So, again, he's the emotional leader on this team. He's the offensive catalyst, and he's really what gets this high-powered offense going.
Now, even though the Katy Tigers lost their leading rusher, Gerald Jones, to a broken collarbone a week ago in the final win over San Antonio Marshall, they still have plenty of offensive weapons in the backfield with Jamel Branch and in the backfield and at wideout with Keith Mouton.
You would think, Craig, losing a 1,300-yard rusher would really hamper or hinder your offense, but that's just not the case. Jamel Branch and Keith Mouton both are explosive backs. They both run the ball. They're very quick and hard to bring down. They've got excellent balance. They're small guys. They're 5'9", 5'10", but again, these guys don't go down very easily, and they know how to take it to the house.
Well, you look at that, the weapons for Katy, and you say, how can John Tyler match up? The way they've been doing it in the postseason has been with a bruising, punishing defense and a stable of running backs. And I do mean stable, as many as 9. One of those is Robert Garman.
And Robert Garman is one of the leaders on this team, Craig. You mentioned these guys go 2 ways. They're a very tough physical team, is the John Tyler Lions. And what they do is they just go out and they believe that they can pound the ball, run it down your throat, and they line up, and they don't care if you know what they're going to do. They come after you, and Robert Garman is a big part of that offense.
Another one of those splendid two-way athletes for JT is Aaron Ross, combination running back, wide receiver, defensive back, you name it, he can do it.
And again, if you take a look at what these guys do, Aaron Ross is going to be one of the keys to the game today if John Tyler is going to be successful. He is going to be called on from the defensive back. He's going to have to shut down this high-powered Katy offense that we talked about. He's going to be lined up man-to-man a lot of times on these wide receivers, and it's going to be up to him to see if he can hold down that offense.
Patrolling the sidelines for us again today in the state championship round is our man, Keith Fletcher. Keith?
All right, guys, thanks a lot. Well, you talked about Gerald Jones being out, the broken collarbone that he sustained in last week's win over San Antonio Marshall. Well, the way that Katy looks at the glass half full for this game is to diversify their offense. Maybe throw some things out to John Tyler that they haven't seen on film all season, the last few weeks. But I talked to Joe before the game. He's in awfully good spirits about being out of this game. He said that, you know, if this is the way it's supposed to happen, if this is how they're going to win a state championship, then so be it. He's in real good spirits, as are the team. Guys?
You know, these two teams met in the season opener. It's not often that you get a rematch in the state championship round. Katy won that season opener 28-10, but that was way back on September 1st. Now, 3.5 months later, they meet again for the 5A Division II state championship. The kickoff of today's Texas Bowl coming up on Fox Sports Net. Coverage of today's 5A Division II Texas Bowl on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by the University Interscholastic League. By By your Texas Dodge dealers, official sponsor of the Texas High School State Championships. By Gatorade, is it in you? By Pepsi, proud sponsor of the Texas High School State Championships. And by IP Communications. Let us take you there. Moments away from kickoff as you look at the Katy Tigers ready to take the field. This is a program that has been the dominant program in 5A in the greater Houston area under that man and his trademark, at least of the state championship round, suspenders. Mike Johnston, now in his 19th season at Katy, native of Galena Park. Mike played in one of these state championship games back in 1964 for Galena Park and has his team back in the finals for the third time in the last 6 years. Alan Wilson knows all about the state championship prowess. Coached the state titleless at Paris in Class 4A in 1988. And then moved on to John Tyler in his 10th season. And, of course, he won the 5A Division II crown at JT back in 1994. And you see the Lions fired up and ready to go. And it's that special moment, isn't it, Shea, right before kickoff in a game like this?
No question about it, Greg. These guys have both been building up to this all season. Katy's track has been a little easier than John Tyler's, but certainly both teams deserving of being in this ball game. And I can tell you right now from personal experience, the emotion right now is just unparalleled. It's off the charts.
Ryan Ogletree will kick it off for John Tyler. Back deep to receive for the Katy Tigers. Jamel Branch, Keith Mouton, and Jonathan Tarver. And it is Branch in the middle. We hope you're enjoying the holiday season and hope this will be a little more enjoyment for you as we get it underway. The 5A Division II state title round. Branch fields it at the 5-yard line. And as he breaks off and tackles, Jamel Branch, still on his feet, will go down at the 26-yard line. And that is where the Katy Tigers will take over. Leroy Thomas came down to make the tackle for John Tyler. Jared Kaspar, what a stable influence he's been on the Katy Tiger attack, completing 61% of his passes this season. Only 3 interceptions, over 2,000 yards passing. As we continue to look at the IP Communications starting lineup, the offensive line there, veterans, and Jamel Branch in the backfield. Eric Konashek, one of the receivers, along with Keith Mouton, very explosive there for Katy. Tigers operate from their own 26-yard line. And on first down, the fullback, Chase Jones, is the man in motion. It is Branch with the first down carry, and immediately a flag comes down as Branch picks up 3 yards before Trey Webb, the defensive end, makes the tackle. As you look at the John Tyler defense, first of all, the flag, and it'll be offsides against JT. Not the way the Lions wanted to start it. As we take a look at the Lions defensive front, Norris Medlock, Jonathan Beverly, Aaron Jackson, and Trey Webb, the linebackers for JT. Fletcher Session, Paget McGee, and Andre Mills. And in the secondary for John Tyler, fast to get to the ball quickly, Robert Garman, you'll hear his name on offense, as well as Aaron Ross, Matthew Melton, and Scott Whitaker complete the secondary for Alan Wilson's team. So they'll take the penalty, will the Tigers, and it makes a 1st and 5, Katy at the 31-yard line. From the eye, and it is Kaspar throwing, and just over the extended reach of the tight end, Bo Davidson. He's gotten behind Robert Garman, the strong safety, and the pass just beyond his fingertips.
Nice play fake here by Kaspar. You see him going down the line of scrimmage, faking the run, and then Bo Davidson does a nice job of releasing. Maybe a little bit extra juice on that ball right now. As we mentioned, the emotions going a little high. Davidson almost able to pull that in off the fingertips. But Craig, the most important thing to me right now is we've seen the first 2 plays. John Tyler is going straight man-to-man on not only the wide receivers, but on the tight end as well. Strong safety Robert Garman was trailing Bo Davidson on that play.
We'll see if Katy tries to make him pay for the straight man coverage. 2nd and 5 from the 31-yard line, and there was movement, I believe, by Davidson that time on the far right side of the line, and that should give back the 5 yards that Katy was awarded on the JT offside call. There's the false start call as they'll go back to the 26. Here's today's Dodge Keys to the Game, brought to you by your Texas Dodge dealer.
And looking at these, for Tyler, they've got to let the dogs out. They've got to let Cujo run wild and rabid like they have on the emblazoned on the front of their jerseys. And for Katy, Casper's got to keep that quick strike offense going for Katy. They have scored touchdowns in the previous game. They only took 5 plays on each touchdown drive.
Second down and 10 after the 5-yard penalty. Puts Katy back. The quick pass goes out to Jonathan Tarver. And Tarver picks up 12 yards and a first down for Katy. Swinging it out of the backfield to Jonathan Tarver for a gain of 12 and a first down before Fletcher Session can wrap him up.
And that's where you're going to see a lot of mismatches is when you get the back that's coming out of the backfield. He came down in motion and he releases back out of the backfield. It's very difficult for linebackers to run step for step with all of the running backs. And again, Katy is so deep and so talented at their skill positions that it's real tough, and that's going to create some matchup problems for John Tyler.
Tarver's another one of those guys they can put in the backfield or at wide receiver. First and 10, the ball at the 39-yard line for Katy. This time it's Branch who's popped hard right at the line of scrimmage. No gain at all. And he was really clocked hard. Paget McGee, the linebacker, might have been the first man to get to him, but there were a couple of white jerseys right in his face. You see Cujo there on the front of the jerseys. They've had that, as Shea mentioned, emblazoned on there for a while, even going back to their 94 5A Division II state championship team.
They're 20-5 with the Cujo in the playoffs, so it's been a good omen for them.
Second down and 10 from the 39-yard line. J.D. Williams, the wide receiver, in motion. Kaspar with a lot of running room on the opposite side as a first down into JT territory at the 48-yard line. 12-yard gain. Matthew Melton, the free safety, finally makes the tackle.
Craig, there's nothing real exotic about this particular play. Kaspar back in the shotgun, and as he gets a snap, he just follows his running back, and it's a straight run the whole way. And Kaspar showing he's doing a nice job of getting up and picking up that first down on second and long.
Jared Kaspar, for all his passing prowess, has carried for close to 400 yards now rushing this season. First drive of the game still underway for Katy as the Tigers are on the march at the Lions' 49-yard line. Branch with one block and then picks up about 4 down to 45, close to the 44-yard line. Session on the tackle for John Tyler along with Paget McGee. Session and McGee in on a lot of stops for JT throughout the course of this season.
One of the things you really have to wonder about it, we talked about in the opening, Craig, these guys go both ways.
And the wingback is Chase Jones on second down. This time it's Kaspar running again. And the first.
He's a 6-foot, 195-pound guy, but Craig, he's bench 200 pounds. He's squatting.
A short game now, Branch, so only a yard. The one person they added.
J.D. Williams comes in motion. He just sprints and splits the seam going across the horizontally. He's got the defensive plan.
Have been rarely even challenged in the playoffs. The differential was tight in the first half, but a couple of plays that we thought would help, and otherwise an easy road for the Tigers. Play down behind the 40-yard line. Eric Worley coming in, and Matthew Melton made the tackle, but Worley picks up 20 yards in a first down.
Confusing that John Tyler defense just a little bit, almost like a play-action shuttle pass type of play. And Worley breaks it for a big game.
We're happy to be the regular middle linebacker, not even lowers the shoulder back inside the 30 and down to the 28-yard line. A gain, well, give him the... Shows you how Katy got it. Round team that fought through a couple of big wins in the first two rounds. They were down to Waco High at the... Took a lick from the free safety, Matthew. He is right near the first down marker. Looks like he's got enough.
Favorite things is you're looking play 7, 8 yards down the field, the offense is winning that battle. But one of the things that Allen Wilson was concerned about was having the most
the split receiver. What is Coach Jones now goes in motion. Branch is the lone setback. Janelle Branch who gets the another linebacker after we saw Katy had to leave the game.
Lee Fletcher, Arlington Lamar in the semifinals. He had 11 tackles in that ball. He's a very big, he's a main cog in this John Tyler defense.
Section being helped off the field now. Martin goes in, strong side linebacker. John Tyler has a Mark Martin and a Jeremy Mayfield on their defense. Not to be confused with the Winston Cup NASCAR drivers of the same name. Of course, today's game kicks off championship Saturday. It is the first of 5 or 4. There was one play left. Division Texas Bowl kickoff at 1 o'clock at the stadium against unbeaten West Orange Stark. And the 2A Division II matchup. So many folks have pointed to this game. Last year's Division I title is March. Last year's Division II champions, Salina, they can only meet. Waco IMG Athletic Complex. Bradford, a 2A semifinalist a year ago in the championship round in Class A against Burkeville, those late blooming Mustangs who have managed to fight their way to the state title round. Second down, and not Katy. Pass far with one time for Mouton. Touchdown. Keith Mouton sprinting up the sideline as he got past Aaron Ross, and Katy gets its first points of the day.
Craig, we talked in the beginning about the man-to-man coverage. Aaron Ross, what is responsibility? Mouton is the route, and you can take another look here at the bottom of your screen. Castro lays it up just inside the pylon. Excellent throw and catch. And that's what you see when you run, when you have a running attack like Katy has, and then you have the excellent receivers they have. All those cards are going to get the ball.
J.D. with the conversion, and the kick is good, and we're tied. You kind of get the feeling we may need to sit back and get used to this. We may see some points put on the board by both of these teams today.
And the interesting thing about that, Craig, is both teams' defenses. Katy's defense comes in today's game letting opponents score 7.1 points per game. On the flip side of that, John Tyler comes in today's game only allowing just over 10 points a game. And right now in the first period, we are in 2 scores forward.
Well, it's got a 7 as we get to the late to quarter number 1. Derek, our really unassuming young man, says, look, it's the other guys who make it work. They make my job real easy, but don't underestimate his contribution.
No, without question. If you ask the guy how he had such a good day throwing the ball, he says the offensive line gave me protection. If you ask him how they had a big day offensively and put up their standard 400-plus yards, he said, well, the running backs ran well. This guy, make no mistake about it, is the catalyst, and he is relied on heavily by Coach Mike Johnston. And he even himself, Caspar, admitted in the newspaper the other day that, hey, I've matured. If they want me to be the leader of this team, that's what I am, and he's certainly showing that today.
And those are the kind of words that Mike Johnston loves hearing from his guys. He loves having his seniors take leadership roles, which is only natural. Williams would kick it off, and John Tyler did, but not really. And that'll be fielded by Thomas to the 8-yard line. Comes close to the 20, but red jerseys all around him, and they're going to bring him down at the 17-yard line. Nothing hard on first. 35, of course, the 73 title in Class 4A, won largely on the legs of one Earl Campbell, and the division title in 1997.
Made the playoffs just every year that he's been the coach.
Call it the 18-yard line for JT. And as they counted the other way, excellent pursuit by Katy. And yet, it's just a great flexibility by Griffin, who came around and saved it. And it does turn out 2-yard long, but it could be so much more. Good athletic quickness by Griffin coming around.
John Tyler going with a little bit of a misdirection, trying to get Katy defense track. I tell you, this defense is so talented. Superstars on this side. You really want to tackle defense. You can straight out in the first series when it was a bounce back play.
Second down. And this time flags go down. See this starting to print through that Katy defense. Penalty destruction and a state championship game, and a false start will cost John Tyler 5 yards. As we go inside a minute to go in the first quarter, and something that Alan Wilson certainly did not like seeing. A guy who is very technique now. So much as he can do the program and score the pride and tradition at John Tyler. All the way back to the 10-yard line now. They need the 28, so it's going to be second down at 18.
These are tough distances, down and distances to pick up when you're primarily a running football team.
They run this time again. Doesn't get all perfect, and got to make the tackle. Let's go down to Keith Fletcher.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. Fletcher Sessions hyperextended his elbow just a little bit. He's getting his ice a little bit. He's going to get bandaged up, and he's going to head out to the game. Now, further look down there, Pat Key got his banged up on the previous. Well, he's going to set out a few plays and take a breathe while he gets some ice put on his knee. So a couple of early on bang-ups down here in the JT sideline.
Well, that certainly would affect their defense a little bit, but John Tyler right now with problems on offense. Third down, and they need about 19 for the first down. Garmin with some running room, but going to still be stopped well short of the first down at the 16-yard line. Gain of 7. John Lawrence, the free safety, leads the way for Katy on the defensive end.
You know, Craig, you really handicap yourself when you don't have even on third and about 20 of pass play in the offense. It shows you get John Tyler in their running game.
Well, they'll have to punt to start the second quarter. We're all even after one quarter of the 5A Division II Texas Bowl. You might say it's a holiday mood, Texas style, as we begin the second quarter. John Tyler and Katy tied at 7 here in the 5A Division II Texas Bowl. And a lot of excitement, no matter what side you're rooting for. Cujo, JT to punt. And Ogletree's kick with Branch to field it at the 44-yard line. And that's how he can move upfield. He does eventually go down at the 48. And brought down Trey Webb downfield quickly for John Tyler on kick coverage. 40-yard punt. And we mentioned how strong John Tyler's been in the past. You look at Katy's history. Now, in addition to that record of 107-25, in addition to having won 31 of 38 playoff games, 10 district titles in the past 15 years, they also have a state finalist appearance in 94 and 99, and of course, the 5A Division I title right here in the Astrodome. They beat Longview in 1997. Now they're trying to add a Division II title to the Division I trophy they have. Trying to become the third team in Texas high school history to win 2 5A titles in 2 different divisions. Branch running room on first down, and Mills catches up quickly to make the tackle. Goes as a gain of 40 yards. It'll be second down and 6. Fletcher Session back out there after he was injured early on.
He's a tough guy. We talked about his performance last week against Arlington Lamar with those 11 tackles. A little hyperextended elbow is not going to keep him out of the state championship game, as we've seen, kind of bandaged back up and back in there.
Second and 6. Mouton, the receiver at the top of your screen. And Eric Konachek down at the bottom of your picture. Nice play fake by Kaspar. Throws for the tight end, who takes a lick before Davidson has the first down. Scott Whitaker drops him, but that's after a nice crossing route to the tight end as it goes for 12 yards.
Watching this on the replay, we see Kaspar again. Excellent hand fake. You talk about the senior leadership that this guy has. And then he delivers the ball perfectly to his tight end, Bo Davidson, who takes a shot. But, Craig, these kind of hits always get the rancor and rile of the crowd. Everybody, oh, yeah, right. Well, guess what? The guy made the catch. Excellent job of hanging on to the football there by Bo Davidson.
You're right.
Checking his feelings on the sideline a little bit. But
it was a good catch. He did have to pull it in quickly, then took the shot from Whitaker. Now, here goes Branch, turning the corner. And Branch, face mask as he's hauled out of bounds, and that's where the late flag comes in. Matthew Melton was the man who grabbed that face mask. That's 25 yards, and you'll be able to tack on a half the distance penalty to the goal line because that looked flagrant on the face mask.
It didn't look intentional, but it did look flagrant from our vantage point. As again, Branch was going into the end zone, and the angle of pursuit was what really, as the defender for John Tyler, reached out. Let's hear the call from the official here.
And it is the personal foul. Yeah, well, you saw the head snap back as you look at it again, Shea.
And this is the dangerous thing about Katy's offense. Not only they just completed a little bootleg play action pass on you, now they pop the corner on you, and you've got Branch streaking down the sideline. You know, Craig, I'm not so sure that's a face mask. Look like he got him up around the shoulders as he brought him down. Well, he did get the face mask there.
It'll be a first down inside the 10-yard line. We've got a timeout. And it's Katy and John Tyler tied at 7. Well, the Rockets we've seen launched here in Houston so far have been on the offensive side for both of these teams. Running backs, Robert Garman, long touchdown run. Then the touchdown pass to Keith Mouton. John Tyler took the timeout on defense, but it's now first and goal to 6 for Katy, and there goes Branch for the score. Jamel Branch takes it in, and the Katy Tigers have their first lead of the day.
He's coming out of the power backfield, Craig. Branch getting excellent blocking up front by the big offensive line, and these guys go 290, 255 on the left side of the ball there. They just create a huge seam. Nice job of his upback or his running back picking up a block for him. He goes in basically untouched.
Katy now goes for the extra point. J.D. Williams on for the conversion out of the hold of Aaron Wallace on that play. Flags go down, and the extra point was no good. Let's check the flag.
They're going to get another shot at that one. There's offsides on the like Aaron Ross coming off the corner.
So and another try to come.
Aaron Ross up there at the top. He's trying to make a play, but he tries to anticipate the snap count. That could be called in a ball game like today.
So they'll get another opportunity, and they'll move that a little closer after that penalty. This time, the extra point try is good. Given the second chance, J.D. Williams converts. And it is Katy on top for the first time this afternoon, 14-7. And an impressive scoring drive for the Tigers there as they move it 52 yards in 4 plays, take 106 off the clock, and then Branch finishes the work.
Very characteristic of the Katy offense. They put together big yardage drives in hardly any place. And they scored in 4 plays, as you just mentioned, but last week, or excuse me, in the first meeting against the John Tyler team, the first game of the season, they scored 4 touchdowns, and each of those drives, Craig, were 5 plays or less. I mean, they can shoot up the yards, and they do it with a lot of different sets. We saw him go to tight end on a little bit of a play action bootleg. We saw him run the switch to Jamal Branch. Then we see Jamal lined up in the power I as he takes it into the end zone. So you're getting a lot of different looks from this versatile, explosive Katy offense.
As we point out, Jamal Branch, of course, can break it out on the run, and then Mouton they can use primarily as a receiver, and they've put him in the backfield before. He is such a dangerous threat at the White House we saw in the first quarter.
And remember, they're doing this without their leading rusher, Gerald Jones. One of the things that Gerald Jones allowed this Katy offense was that he would get in the backfield, and you'd have Mouton wide on one side, and Jamal Branch would go wide on the other side. You talk about a real headache for defensive coordinator. You've got those two guys, plus the 1,300-yard rush in the backfield. It's a lot of cause for concern if you're a defensive coordinator.
We saw Jamal Branch have a big first half, a big game overall against Garland last year, even though Katy wound up on the short end of that 37-25 decision. Here's the kickoff. Line drive shot, fielded by Ross, just shy of the 10. Aaron Ross with a nice move to get outside. Ross still on his feet and finally run out of bounds. An excellent return by Ross out to the 43-yard line. 34 yards on the return as we check in with Keith Fletcher.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. IAP Communications, one of the new corporate partners for the UIL and for Fox Sports Net, and Mike Huckins from IAP Communications here. Tell us a little more about their involvement in the high school state championship.
A lot of people don't know this, but IAP Communications is a company that's been around a little over a year now, and we're already considered the largest independent broadband provider in the state of Texas. And what we do is we go out and we help businesses build their data networks. And we're just really proud to be able to be a part of this high school championship and be official UIL corporate sponsor, supporting all the high school athletics boys and girls out there. We're really proud to be able to be here.
Well, God bless the internet for preparing for a state championship. Craig, back upstairs to you.
All right, thank you very much. And on first down, Tommy Griffin turns nothing into 6 yards. Griffin and the quarterback. Jeff Gott comes up and makes the tackle along with Adam Bob Wilson. But Tommy Griffin managed to get a 6-yard gain. That Griffin, the backup quarterback for John Tyler. But you can see by his moves an offensive threat.
And these guys are so athletic in the backfield. I mean, we talk about running backs that go 9, 10 deep in this John Tyler offense. And we saw Tommy Griffin right there. He goes down the line of scrimmage. He stops at the line of scrimmage, and he's able to break the tackle and bounce it back around to his right, picking up 8 yards.
Second down, the ball right at the midfield front on the option play. Griffin this time. Look at him get away again. And Griffin, first down field, and the first down and more. Look at Tommy Griffin run. Inside the 30-yard line, 20 yards on the run. But he ran down about 35 to get the 20.
35 or 40. My goodness, what an excellent individual effort. They're going to the option game. Katy sniffs it out perfectly. They play it exactly how they should. The only thing they don't do is bring down Tommy Griffin. And again, he bounces it back to his right side, gives up a lot of yardage, but he's able to go back and pick up big yardage, getting the first down. Just an incredible individual effort by Tommy Griffin.
Jeff Gott finally ran him out of bounds. But it's 20 yards and a first down, nose of the football, touching the 30-yard line. And JT fighting right back here early in the second quarter, and now they've gone to Leroy Thomas, the third quarterback. John Tyler has used on. They've gone back to McGee, and here's the pitch. And turn in the corner, big running room, and a touchdown for Cliff Edwards. I believe we used the word stable about John Tyler proving it here in the first half.
Well, that's one big advantage to having this many talented runners in your backfield is that you can always keep fresh legs. We saw the offense get a little stagnant. Tommy Griffin comes in again with his Hartman. McGee comes back in the game. Does an excellent job of not only pitching that ball to Edwards, but he leads the play. He gets the block that fields the lane for Edwards to cut it upfield and score a touchdown. So you've got a lot of individual effort there by the Lions of John Tyler.
JT line up the conversion. Edwards, the number 5 man in the rushing order for JT this season. But he gets a touchdown along with a conversion to tie this up. 57 yards in 3 plays. And we're just getting started. Tied at 14 here in the second quarter.
As we come back, we take a look at this play, Craig. Here's the quarterback, McGee. He pitches the ball back to the back, and then watch him lead play. He's going to come in here and get the seal block on the safety, which springs and creates the lane for Edwards to score the touchdown. Excellent job there by your quarterback, being a team leader, creating that for the running back, and then again, Edwards taking it to the house, as you talked about, this staple of running backs. These guys have all got fresh legs, it seems like, for John Tyler.
Well, we weren't kidding when we said that they will use as many as 9 in a game, and they will use 2, sometimes 3 quarterbacks. Cletus McGee was out there leading the block. Edwards, we pointed out, number 5 rusher on the team, but he's carried 69 times. That was his 70th carry of the year, and he now is up to 387 yards rushing. And the important other thing to remember is, Shay, that all these guys average 4 or 5 yards per carry as the kickoff is fielded. And then it's not going to be fielded right over the head of Jamel Branch into the end zone. It'll be a touchback back to the 20-yard line. Well, John Tyler looking for another state championship. It would be JT's 4th. And, of course, the middle of the 3 won back in 1973 right here in the Astrodome. It was the first state championship game contested in the Astrodome. And you see the bruising, punishing, running style of the Tyler Rose. Earl Campbell went on to the Heisman Trophy at the University of Texas and a Pro Football Hall of Fame career.
And these still highlights are a little grainy, but boy, it just gives me goosebumps right now watching this film as you see what a dominant player Earl Campbell was as a high school player. And, of course, his college and pro career very well documented. But quite a story there for John Tyler faithful. If he lost the break here in the Dome,
1973. Team coached by Corky Nelson won that one 21-14. Branch on first down. Out to the 23. Pick up a 3. Aaron Ross in on the tackle for John Tyler. Headlocked at 14. Early here in the second quarter.
Craig, to go back to the point that you made on that scoring drive with Cletus McGee and the staple of running backs, the real catalyst to that drive was the backup quarterback, Tommy Griffin, who came in and he ran those option plays. Very well defensed by Katy, but just individual athleticism by Griffin. He bounces those things around, open field, breaking tackles, and that's really what put John Tyler back in scoring position.
Now Katy trying to get right back there. 2nd and 7 from the 23. Caspar out of the shotgun. And nice little shovel pass inside as Branch, however, is popped right at the line of scrimmage. He'll get no gain on the play. Aaron Jackson, the tackle on the stop for JT. You see the numbers on Jamel Branch early. You know, just to finish the point about John Tyler and the quarterbacks, normally when you talk about use of different quarterbacks, it's like one is an option quarterback, one is a passing quarterback. It's not the case here. One is a handoff quarterback and a lead blocker in the case of McGee. The other, Griffin, the option quarterback.
Explosive running, you're exactly right. But the next one might be again, but they just come at you in waves. I mean, and they've got so many guys back there that they're able to keep fresh.
3rd down and 7 for Katy. Tigers have been able to respond all the time, but on the blitz this time, they're going to get to Caspar, and down he'll go. Caspar down. Trey Webb finished him off. Jermaine Nelson coming up the middle, also with pressure, and you also saw Norris Medlock coming in. It's a loss of 7. White jerseys all around Jared Caspar.
Up at the top of your screen, the guys try to go down and get a couple of blocks, and actually Jamel Branch just outruns. He goes out too far, and the defender cuts right in front of him. Caspar has nowhere to go with the football. And again, very aggressive attack-style defense we're seeing by John Tyler right now. Hence the name Cujo, as they like to go by.
Michael Meeker to punt, but not before Katy takes a timeout here. They want to make sure they've got the right personnel on the field. John Tyler trying to set up for a big return, and Mike Johnston wanting to make sure his guys are all set because it's an important moment in this football game.
Absolutely.
John Tyler striking first, and Katy with back-to-back scores. Looked like the Tigers had all the momentum. JT comes right back down the field, and now John Tyler gets only its 2nd defensive stop here of the first half.
And really what puts this timeout is a good timeout for Katy is we see Aaron Ross, the explosive return man. He's standing on about his 40, 43-yard line. And he's the guy, Craig, that opened up that scoring drive with a big kickoff return.
So the punt now to come from Michael Meeker. And Ross awaits the kick at the midfield strike. As we draw closer toward the midway mark here of the second quarter. Each team has taken a timeout here in the first half. And Meeker to punt. Fair catch called for and made at the 47-yard line by Ross. 32 yards on the punt without a return. But the Lions will have excellent field position here in a 14-14 tie.
Looking back at that timeout call by Mike Johnston, it's probably an excellent call, as if you'll recall, Craig, in the first game, John Tyler blocked the punt as they were playing Katy. That's how they scored their first field goal of that ball game.
As Tommy Griffin checks back in at quarterback, we go to Steve Fletcher.
All right, Craig, thanks a lot. Well, in the last series, Michael Cathy of Katy was taken off the field. He's been checked out. The trainers kind of gave me the cold no comment, but after some digging around, he's apparently torn some ligaments in his right knee and will not return. Okay?
All right, thank you very much, Keith, on first down. Running to the 45-yard line and a pickup of a couple of yards was Griffin.
The versatility of this offense, we're seeing it again. We've got Cletus McGee, the starting quarterback. Griffin, who was taking snaps at the beginning of the last series, is now lining up in the backfield as he got that handoff.
He was in there with Caraway. Now he comes out. Aaron Ross or Andre Mills checks in as a running back now. And they have now, in the first half, after the cycle, have used 8 different men in the back of the running back. We mentioned they go as many as 9 at times. And this is Mills, but Mills isn't going to go anywhere. Adam Bob Wilson in on the tackle, a loss of 3 yards.
He brought the bomb on that play. He knifed right through the John Tyler offensive line. They had everything set up like they wanted, Craig, out on the outside, and all the blocking was going that way. But Bob Wilson cut through right in front of the guard tackle. You'll see here in the middle of the screen. He tracks down and he gets the tackle. And again, outstanding individual effort there, but really should get the wall starting to develop on outside. Running back this one, and gets the ball goes in and blows up the play. Third and 11 at the 48.
The box this time for Ross. And Ross lowering the shoulder, but he can only pick up 4 yards to the 44, and now it's 4th down for John Tyler. Jeff Joseph, the strong safety, making the tackle there for Katy. Joseph, son of the defensive coordinator, Gary Joseph, grandson of the executive vice president of the Texas High School Coaches Association, Eddie Joseph, and you know, that's quite a football family.
A lot of Joseph.
A lot of Texas high school football. Yeah, and those family bloodlines, as John Tyler calls the timeout here. 5:52 to go here in what has been a very entertaining first half as we look at today's game summary, brought to you by Gatorade. Seesaw, to say the least.
Well, Robert Garman, again, he hits the play after 5 plays on offense. He takes it 77 yards for the touchdown, a little breakback. And then Mouton for Katy, he goes down deep on the 9 route, and Branch bounces right back again for Katy as they drive smartly down the field, not using up a lot of plays, but chewing up big chunks of yardage. And then you got Edwards. He's being led there by Cletus McGee, and he takes it into the end zone. Again, very tightly contested ball game.
You referred to the Mouton touchdown as a 9 route.
That's a 9 route. That's a go route. That's a go route. In wide receiver speak, a defensive back speak, he's one-on-one out there against Aaron Ross. He ran the fade. He took it upfield, and Kaspar laid the ball in perfectly for the touchdown.
Alan Wilson taking the timeout before the punt. He took 1 timeout on defense and 1 before the punt. Katy has taken 1 timeout before the Tigers have punted. We've not seen either of these teams use a timeout on offense other than right before a punt. In this case, it won't be a punt because John Tyler is going to go for it. On 4th and 6. It's McGee looking to throw for the first time today. He will, and a catch and a drop by the tight end, DeQuincy Howard, who came across. Howard, their number 2 receiver, had the ball in his hands for a moment, doesn't hold on. The gamble does not pay off for JT. Katy gets the football in great field position.
And that is it's a huge momentum builder now for this Katy offense. Like they need any momentum. I mean, these guys can score from anywhere on the field. But again, DeQuincy Howard, as he's going down across the field, comes across the wide side. The ball may have been a little bit behind him, but it was in his hands, and usually he'll make that catch.
Want to remind you, coming up tonight at midnight, you'll see highlights of this game and all the other state championship games being played today on a special Saturday championship edition of High School Extra Live, midnight tonight, right here on Fox Sports Net Southwest. 1st and 10, the ball at the 43-yard line for the Katy Tigers. Kaspar off the play fake, looking for and finding J.D. Williams for the first down as Williams picks up 15 yards, making the grab over Scott Whitaker, the corner.
Craig, a real similar route to what we saw J.D. Williams run before. It's nothing more than a little play-action pass as it's getting executed. Williams coming back across. We talked about his sure-handedness being one of the better receivers. He does a nice job. He's a pretty big guy. He's got enough range in his body to separate from the defender. As the defender was trailing right there, Scott Whitaker just couldn't get up and get that ball out of his hands. Excellent job of hanging on to it, though, by J.D. Williams.
Kaspar is usual good passing numbers. Here's Branch knifing through for 5 inside the 40 down to the 38. J.D. Stewart, and linebacker makes the stop for John Tyler as we tick down to 5 minutes to go in the first half. What has been a fun first half in this state championship round. Of course, it's never fun if you're the head coach till you win it.
That's the old, what's that, the duck on top of the water syndrome? Everything was calm on the outside and inside, everything's churning.
2nd down and 5. That's the lone setback. And Kaspar will give it to Jamel Branch. JT defense catching. This is close to a first down as a gain of 4 for Branch gets it close to the marker. Norris Medlock, the defensive end, on the tackle for John Tyler.
And this is really what makes this Katy offense so dangerous. We just saw them. They are able to mix the run and the pass, Craig, so well and so efficient that you really don't know how to prepare for them. Again, the corners now are out wide. They're going man-to-man against the receivers and tight ends. and they get a little bit lulled to sleep, or they get a little out of position, and then all of a sudden you got Casper throwing a dart at you, picking up a big first down.
Third down, it's not quite enough for the first down, but they need less than a yard, and now they get the first down as Kaspar keeps ahead, and he will have the first down following the blocks of his offensive line. Jacob Jones, the center, and Josh Spittler, the guard, Chris Siva, the guard, the interior offensive lineman, carving a path for Jared Kaspar, and a first down for Katy, and you see the first downs piling up for the Tigers. John Tyler hasn't had many, but they're even. They've been striking on big plays. First and 10 for Katy with Konashek and Mouton, the split receivers, and an eye set. And Bo Davidson was on a different snap count than everybody else. And that's going to cost Katy 5. I mean, there was no flinching that time. Bo was just going on what he figured to be the snap count.
It was a different snap count for him. But I got to tell you, he came off the ball. He looked pretty good. He came out pretty low, had nice flat back as he was coming off, looking to seal the linebacker. He's just the only one doing it.
Turns it into a first and 15 at the 36. The time starts to wear down here in the first half. Look at the penalty numbers so far. And from the shotgun, Kaspar will run. Plenty of running room. And Kaspar with a first down to the 21-yard line. A pickup of 15 yards before Session can wrap him up.
We talked earlier about the senior leadership of Jared Kaspar, and again, we're seeing, Craig, as you watch the beginning of this play, there's motion that comes across by Katy. You see the defender for John Tyler trailing. Kaspar picks that up, and he runs right where that motion left from, which he had the Aaron Ross for John Tyler out on coverage. There was nobody there to pick him up. Again, heady play by Kaspar, recognizing that defense.
Katy coming right back. Remember, this drive started the Tiger 43 after John Tyler went for it on fourth down and did not convert. Branch the lone setback. It is Jamel Branch. No, it's Kaspar off the play fake, wide open to Davidson, the tight end, and a first down at the 9-yard line. What a great play fake by Jared Kaspar. Rolling back to the opposite side of the field and finding Bo Davidson. J.D. Stewart made the tackle.
And taking a look at this on the replay, look at the excellent handwork there by Kaspar. As he goes out, he fakes a sprint draw, comes back and finds a tight end, Bo Davidson. Bo Davidson making up for that little offsides jump, doing an excellent job of releasing, getting open, squaring up his body to Kaspar, giving him a good target. Kaspar delivers, and again, a nice executed play there by the Katy Tigers.
Impressive drive for the Tigers. Back to Branch, turning it outside, still outside, and to the pylon he scores. Art form-like running by Jamel Branch, 9 yards, just kept working it outside until he found an opening for the score.
Did a nice job as well, as not only as he was bouncing it outside, Craig, he was still gaining ground, and usually when you see a guy bouncing it horizontally, not going vertical or not going north and south, he's losing yards. Branch kept gaining yards as he was going down, bouncing his way towards the end zone. You take another look here. He sees the middle's all plugged up. He starts bouncing it outside, and again, he's gaining ground. He's gaining ground. He gets a nice job, a nice block out there by his wide receiver. He's got enough speed to stick it in just inside the pylon.
Williams for the conversion. This one is good. And it's Katy's turn to go back on top here, 21-14, 2:33 to go in the first half. Jamel Branch enjoying a good first half with runs like this.
And we talk about this guy, Craig, and the numbers that he's put up. He's gone for over 1,100 yards, even missing 5 ball games this year. He got injured in the John Tyler game earlier in the year, so a little bit of sweet payback here for Jamel Branch as he bounces it outside. Again, individual athleticism by the Katy skill position players is really impressive.
Now we'll see if John Tyler can respond. The Lions, remember, down to 1 timeout. They used 1 timeout on defense on the last Katy touchdown drive, then used one before the 4th down play at the 43-yard line. So now JT down to 1 stoppage with 2:33 to go in the half. And then the impressive scoring drive by Katy. Back-to-back 57-yard scoring drives one by JT of 3 plays. This one by Katy in 7 plays. So with 2:33 to go in the half, it's the Tigers back on top, who trailed 7-0, tied it at 7, went up 14-7. John Tyler squared it at 14, and now it's Katy out in front again on the second Jamel Branch touchdown run of the first half. Kickoff fielded by Leroy Thomas at the 8-yard line. And Thomas upfield, and a good return out to the 35-yard line. 27 yards before Ernie Wheeler makes the stop. And let's see if John Tyler can get it going again before the first half is done.
Be interested to see who they bring in for quarterback. If they're going to bring in Griffin or Cletus McGee. Looks like McGee's getting the call, coming back in. The starting quarterback.
Although certainly both have been in the game for John Tyler, as well as 8 running backs.
With only 1 timeout left and not having a passing offense, they're going to need to get some big chunks of yardage, see if they can pick up first downs and stop the clock.
Well, McGee looks to throw or run, and it will be run. Good first down, gets a good first down play, and gets knocked out of bounds after a 5-yard gain.
Greg, as you say, Cletus McGee looks to throw. All his receivers were on the other side of the field as he was rolling out to his right. There was not a receiver from the midfield area over. So it looked like maybe a little bit of miscommunication there on the receivers, and that's maybe something you could expect from a team that doesn't normally throw the football.
Jeff Gott ran him out of bounds. Ball's at the 39-yard line with 2:16 to go in the half. And McGee with 2 men in the backfield behind him. The toss this time, and Garmin looking for running room that is not there. Maybe a yard to the 40-yard line, but that's getting a yard the hard way as the red jerseys were all around him. Fred Winston got over there. Winston, the number 5 tackler this season for Katy. And he catches up to make the tackle.
Lays a pretty good lick there on Garmin.
So now it's 3rd and 5. Big 3rd down situation. And the clock running here inside 2 minutes to go in the half. McGee at quarterback in the wing left set. Again, the play fake, looking to throw this time, but he'll be sacked. Katy's defense really coming strong. Josh Triplett along with Adam Bomb Wilson in on the tackle, but Triplett got the first hit, and it's 4th down.
And you're going to see Katy call a timeout here as they're going to try to preserve a little bit of that clock.
Big moment here is Mike Johnston realizing that his team has a chance to put more points on the board here. So the second Katy Tiger timeout leaves the Tigers with 1.
And we talk about not being a passing team normally. As McGee goes back, he's looking downfield, Craig, but his receiver is completely blanketed by 3 Katy defenders. There's just absolutely nobody open to go downfield to. And McGee, and the pressure from Katy's defense, I mean, these guys are excellent. They run very well sideline to sideline. They were able to put the pressure on McGee.
Triplett coming in as the extra defensive back, the cornerback on that play. He's only 150 pounds, but has a couple of interceptions, a fumble recovery, 46, making out 47 tackles. You see the timeouts left, each team with 1.
And you can do that if you're a defensive back. You don't have to be all that big or dominant as long as you've got those front 7 guys up there who can fly to the football.
And as long as you can hit when you get there, and he can hit.
And he can bring the leather, that's right.
Time for John Tyler to punt the ball. And Ryan Ogletree to kick it away. His first punt went for 40 yards. Branch is back there along with Mouton. And still plenty of time for Katy to get more points on the board. This is a beautiful kick by Ogletree. Branch fielding it at the 22. And good punt coverage downfield. They drop him at the 24. Another 40-yard kick. A nice punt by Ryan Ogletree, who obviously likes the indoor setting here at the Reliant Astrodome.
Well, he did. He boomed that ball. Excellent punt.
J.D. Stewart downfield on the tackle. Now Katy gets the football back. Tigers with 1 timeout and 1:15 to go here in the first half.
And a little eerily similar to what was the case for Katy last week against San Antonio Marshall in the semifinal game. Just under 3 minutes left, backed up in their own end of the field. The game, of course, at the time was 0-0, but still hotly contested. And that's when Casper and Branch hooked up for an 85-yard touchdown.
Well, this team is dangerous enough on offense to be able to throw the ball downfield, and that's what Caspar wants to do right now for Konashek. And a great defensive play made by Scott Whitaker to keep it out of the hands of the junior wide receiver, Eric Konashek.
Scott Whitaker looks like he may be a little shaken up on that play. Nice job of Whitaker, though, as the ball is in the air. Casper puts a little bit too much air into this. He goes to a little play action again as he lays it up. He's got enough air under it, and that's what you want your defensive back to do, is get underneath and be able to tip it before it gets down to the receiver. And we see Whitaker right there at the last minute swiping it out of the hands of Konashek.
And Whitaker apparently is all right, you know, trying to catch his breath when he hit that carpet pretty hard.
Hey, why not go right back at him if you're Katy? You've got him out in man-to-man coverage again.
He's out on Konashek again. Williams is alone, but they're going to go back the opposite direction with Caspar. Running room for Jared Caspar, still on his feet. A first down from Caspar. J.D. Stewart might have saved a touchdown there, but Caspar picks up 30 and a first down.
Looked like Caspar was going to go out of bounds, and it looked like the John Tyler defense thought he was going to go out of bounds as they chased him over on that sideline. Wasn't able to force him out, and he stays in bounds, twisting and turning, picks up huge yardage.
Katy going no huddle as the clock moves, and now Caspar spikes the football. The clock is stopped with 55 seconds to go in the half. Now the Tigers will try to set themselves up after this big play, the run by Jared Caspar for the first down.
We've seen Katy do this. They take motion, and when they bring motion, they know they're taking another guy off the defense off of that side. Caspar, again, recognizing it as he's tight roping down the sideline. He picks up an excellent block from Jamel Branch, and he's just twisting, turning down the field. Nice job of recognizing what the defense is doing. Again, Katy, we've seen that tendency, Craig, this first half. They send motion, and when they send motion, that's the side that they run the football to because they're taking an extra defender out of the way.
2nd and 10, and now Katy has to use its last timeout. And Mike Johnson not happy about that at all. They wasted a down on first down with a spike, and then they have to use a timeout. They're out of timeouts.
Yeah, that was not good planning there. They had an opportunity, as you said, Craig. They took the now that brings up a 3rd down, and they are on the 45-yard line, and it's going to be 3rd and 10 now.
Well, Katy's trying
burning their last time out, as you mentioned, though.
Yeah, in the process, that hurts. Katy's trying to win a Division I state title, a Division II state title, to go with their Division I crown of '97. They'd be the 3rd team in history to do it behind Louisville, and just last week, Midland Lee, of course, won a Division I title like they had the year before to go with their Division II crown. And you see Midland Lee, the Division I winner. The other Division II titleist, Bay City in 4A, won it at Texas Stadium last week as they defeated Denton Ryan. Gatesville's Hornets capturing the first ever 3A state titles. They won the Division I crown in dramatic fashion over Abilene Wiley. The 2A Division I title won by Sonora, and the 6-man crown going to Panther Creek. LaGrange, you see there, just last night, winning the 3A Division II state championship in a thriller at Texas Stadium over Forney. And congratulations to Tony Velastro and the LaGrange Leopards, the 3A Division II titles. Congratulations to all of those state champions. More to come today. After the timeout, Caspar to go down. And now the clock will move. Trey Webb got him on the sack. And this is where it really hurts Katy, having to use the timeout.
Not having a timeout.
And it's 3rd down. As after the timeout, it's 3rd and 17. And Caspar just spiked the football. I think he might have lost track of the downs. And now it's 4th down.
Well, not a bad play. He looks like he's got one more shot to go downfield with it. So it's probably a good idea to go ahead and kill the clock and try to get something going, because, again, that sack really took Katy out of any chance that they had to try to drive down and put themselves in field goal position.
But think about this, Shay. It's 4th and 17. If they don't convert, John Tyler's going to get it back. And as a result, Katy's going to have to punt the football now. That 3rd down spike, and I think Jared Caspar might have thought of a second
down, not using the timeout.
Remember, he spiked it very quickly for the first down play. They had to use a timeout before the 2nd down call, and then the spike after the sack. And now Katy's got a punt. And JT perhaps with one final shot. They'll kick it away from Aaron Ross. And not a deep punt, but he can return it, and it gets a nice Tiger roll. Look at that ball roll.
And look at the time that it's taking off the clock. And the John Tyler guys are right there challenging the officials, saying, come on, he touched the ball. Looked like Bo Davidson might have gotten a hand or a knee on the ball as it kicked and rolled down about another 7 or 8 yards. But more importantly, it chewed up about 6 or 7 seconds off the clock. Looks like they get a touch there. See, there, the ball's got to be dead right there. Bo Davidson touched it.
And they did mark it back at the 20, but 21 seconds. Clock did run. And
yeah, they've not put additional time back on the clock.
Got it down to 33 yards on the punt. Well, with 21 seconds to go in the half, John Tyler gets it back. Trailing by 7 here as first half.
You can kind of let the air out on this one, Craig, because Katy doesn't have any more timeouts.
We'll just keep it ahead, Will McGee, and the ball will come down at the 25-yard line, and that apparently will do it for half number 1. Entertaining? Absolutely. Plenty of points as well in the first half. And right now, with John Tyler trailing 21-14, they led 7-0 before falling behind 14-7, squared it at 14, and now they trail by a touchdown at 21-14. JT looking to square things in the second half and try to come up with a state championship as they trail here 21-14 to the Katy Tigers. And with the Tigers on top by 7 and the Lions down by 7, let's go down to Keith Fletcher.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. Coach Wilson, well, you were worried about the Katy defense to begin the game, but you've been able to get some points on the board. Now, how do you stop their offense?
Yeah, that's what we're going to have to go inside and figure out. They got a really diversified offense, and they're causing us a lot of problems. And we're going to go inside and figure out how we can try to get them stopped.
You think they made an adjustment with the absence of Gerald Jones that has kind of thrown you off balance a little bit?
Well, yeah, they're doing a lot of different things that we hadn't seen in the past, and we just got to get our kids accustomed to what they're trying to do and do a lot better job of tackling.
All right, good luck in the second half, Coach. Thanks a lot. Craig, back upstairs to you.
Thank you very much, Keith Fletcher. 21-14 the halftime score. The Katy Tigers lead the John Tyler Lions. Halftime activities coming up from the Reliant Astrodome right here on Fox Sports Net.
Welcome back to the Astrodome. We're at halftime of the 5A Division II Texas Bowl. It's a 21-14 lead for the Katy Tigers over the Lions of John Tyler. Well, right now it's about time that we look ahead to the All-the-State Championships for this weekend. Of course, this is the weekend of the Division II state finals as well as the Class 1A state championship. 4 of the 5 championship games are going to be played today all around the state of Texas, but one is already in the books. That was the Class 3A state championship. Let's get a look back at the 3A state final from Craig Way between Forney and LaGrange.
Texas Stadium in Irving. Forney's fighting Jackrabbits coming on strong. They had more than 11,500 fans on hand at Texas Stadium. And, you know, these two teams are known for offense, high-scoring offense, yet it's defense that sets the tone early. The pitch early on, the pass from Terrell Newton. This one's going to be picked off, popped up in the air as Forney's Jason Lowry flipped it up accidentally to Charles Rickerson, and he picks up 30 yards on the return later in the first quarter. Leopards showcasing some D. Defensive tackle Sean Baldwin nailing to Brian Blanton behind the line. 2 plays later. In the second quarter, Leopard linebacker Matt Falden sacking C.J. Tomlinson. That ends the Jackrabbit hopes for points on the drive. Next offensive drive, Ty Kunn looking left, throws right to an open Seth Anderle, 24-yard pickup for LaGrange. Later on the drive, Ty Gunn again, going to take it over from a yard out, 7-0 LaGrange, still in the second quarter. After the Leopard defense holds, LaGrange strikes with a minute before the half. Kevin Kalina bouncing off a couple of defensive players, then he's going to rumble. 33 yards for the second touchdown of the game. Leopards lead it now, 14-0, and they're liking their first ever appearance at Texas Stadium. But before the LaGrange fans could sit down, Forney comes right back. First play, C.J. Tomlinson to DeBrian Blanton. Look at the catch there. The one-hander takes it to the house, 14-7 at the half. We move to the third quarter now. Once again, DeBrian Blanton, this time doing what he does best, running with the ball. 11 yards. This drive, however, stalls. Tough defense for LaGrange. So they go for the field goal. Pete Tuba up, 22-yarder, good. Now it's a 14-10 ball game. Forney right back in this one. Next Forney drive, now in the fourth quarter. Blanton working his magic again. Breaks tackles. Look at the moves. Outside and inside, 54 yards before he can finally be hauled down. 2 plays later, DeBrian Blanton ready to finish what he started. Around the end, turns it in. Touchdown. Forney leads for the first time. 7.5 minutes to go. It's 17-14 Jackrabbit. LaGrange coming right back. Ty Gunn, who else? Going to turn it upfield. Yes, he can run. 40 yards downfield. And LaGrange looking good behind their leader. Gunn on the move again. This time back the opposite direction. Going to pitch. Going to turn it upfield. 18 yards on the pickup. Now down to 3.5 minutes to go in the game. Head coach Tony Velastro using Gunn again. A few plays later, in for the touchdown. LaGrange back on top. They missed the extra point, however, 20-17. If you thought Forney was done, not yet. Tomlinson going up top. T.J. Gilbert, hold the catch. 50 yards. One missed tackle away from taking it home. Forney fans going crazy, sensing a Jackrabbit comeback. But with less than 2 minutes to go, LaGrange coming over. The big hit, ball's loose, fumble, Leopards have it, and that's going to do it. LaGrange is going to get the state championship as they hold on inside the 10-yard line. Congratulations to Tony Velastro and the LaGrange Leopards. They get the state title over the Forney Jackrabbits, 20-17. And what an incredible ending as the high school extra lives. Bud Smith was there with the happy LaGrange folks.
So this Class 3A Division II state final certainly lives up to its potential. Both teams show a lot of heart in this one, but LaGrange comes up big and wins 20-17 over Forney. Head coach Tony Velastro joins us now. Coach, what a game this turns out to be.
Well, we told the fans and the community all week long and the kids that Forney had a great football team and it was going to be a great game, and whoever outlasted the other and responded better to the big plays was going to be the winner of the game, and we responded better. We made a turnover there at the end, made a couple first downs, and took care of business, and the kids were the ones you should be talking to right now. They did the job out there. They're a great bunch of kids, not great athletes, but they played great together, and that's why we won the football game.
Hey, team commits a costly error there in the fourth quarter, but you come right back and score the winning touchdown.
Well, like I said, we respond well all year long to adversity, and we let that punt go over the top of our heads there, got the ball on the 5, and there was no doubt in these kids' mind that we'd be able to take this thing down and score. And we've done it all year long, and we did it again tonight, the biggest game of their lives, and they did a super job.
Certainly a team effort in this one, but one of your leaders, Ty Gunn, had a great game.
Well, Ty's been our leader for the past 4 years. He's done a tremendous job moving the football for us. Our kids have a tremendous amount of confidence in him. When his hands are on the ball, they believe that he's going to take the thing down and score, and we gave him a chance with a few minutes to go, and he didn't, and he took care of it.
Coach, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Let's turn to our right and talk to Ty Gunn. Ty, what a game this ends up being. You have a feeling this might turn out this way?
I feel like they're a lot tougher than I thought they were. They're great athletes, and their coaches line them up in the right place at the right time.
Let's talk about the fourth quarter. Your team commits a costly turnover on the deflection there, but your team comes right back, motors down the field, and gets the winning touchdown.
Right, that was my fault. But we've been making big plays on defense all year long, and we were confident that we'd get the ball back. And we did it, and we executed, and we scored.
You haven't played a lot of years at LaGrange. I mean, all the hard work certainly pays off, doesn't it?
Right, I don't think you could end it on a better note. I started 4 years doing some representing of all my high school career. And I'm glad I can win it for the Leopards and all our fans.
Well, a hearty congratulations to LaGrange and the great Coach Velastro for the 3A Division II state championship. Well, there's one in the books. We're at halftime of another. What about the other 3? We'll check out those when we come back to the Astrodome. We're at halftime of the 5A Division II Texas Bowl. Welcome back to the Astrodome for the 5A Division II Texas Bowl. We're at halftime and a 21-14 lead for the Katy Tigers as the John Tyler Band entertaining the crowd here. Well, you've seen the one state championship in the books. We're at halftime of another. 3 more state championships to be decided this afternoon. One of them is the Class 4A Division II state championship between the Ennis Lions and the West Orange Stark Mustangs. Let's take a look at a preview of that game. The Ennis Lions, of course, coached by Sam Harrell out of the southeast side of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Got to the semifinal round last year. Let's take a look at their championship march.
year, the Division II semifinals. Ennis versus an undefeated and top-ranked Stephenville. The Lions lost. Stephenville went on to win the state championship. Fast forward to this year's Division II semifinals. Ennis versus an undefeated and top-ranked Wichita Falls. Same scenario, different outcome.
This year it was exciting, but it didn't seem as, it just seemed to have a calmness to it. And our players just had that to them and just kept thinking, hey, you know, we'll get the ball back or we'll stop them. Once we did score, you know, our defense, let's go stop them, you know. And so, I don't know, I think that experience really paid off.
The Lions know experience alone won't get it done against this week's undefeated opponent. A big test will be cracking a West Orange D that has pitched 6 shutouts this year.
I don't think we're going into this game thinking, oh, we're going to score 40 or 50 points like we have in some games. And our defense has been playing so well that it's going to come down to, I think, a lot of field position. And then when you get an opportunity, who's going to score?
It also boils down to the play of quarterback Tate Wallace. He's been a big threat on the ground, but his primary strength has been through the air. He reached the 3,000-yard passing mark last week with a lot of help from targets like Broderick Jones and Vincent Marshall.
First of all, we have a great quarterback in Tate Wallace. We have a great group of receivers, so it wouldn't be hard to him to just, you know, throw the ball anywhere close, and any one of us would go receive it. Go get it. And so we just have a lot of confidence in each other, and we just do what we got to do.
After winning the thriller over the top-ranked Coyotes and racking up over 40 points in each of their other playoff wins, the Lions are showing their experience in another way, knowing the right time to peak.
We obviously weren't peaking when we played Steve Poteet and Marshall, but then again, those games don't count when it comes down to winning it all, and we just focused on getting better each week. We've played our hearts out each week, and here we are with it all on the line, chance to win it all.
So the Lions state championship opponent for this afternoon, the Mustangs of West Orange Stork out of southeast Texas. Of course, the WOS great football tradition, state championship tradition through the 1980s, but relative newcomers not to the playoffs, but the state championship round in the 1990s. Of course, now here we are in 2000. Facing those tough Ennis Lions, it's been a long road, but here we go with Ennis and West Orange Stark. Let's take a look at those Mustangs and preview their path to the championship round.
West Orange Stark's win over Corpus Christi Calallen in the Class 4A Division II semifinals came during the 4th quarter. West Orange Stark sits at a perfect 15-0, not because it blows out teams week in and week out, but because it simply dominates the 4th quarter on both sides of the ball. The Mustangs have outscored their opponents 108-22 in the final quarter, thanks to a number of prime-time athletes.
The thing about this football team is you never know. You know, Jermaine Hope hadn't done much on offense because he's been hurt and he just hadn't contributed to the offense that much. Then he goes out there Saturday and makes 2 or 3 big plays late. And, of course, Jeffrey's been doing it all year, but it's always somebody different. When everybody's playing hard, those kind of things happen.
During Dan Hook's 19 years as head coach at West Orange Stark, the Mustangs defense has always been the force behind the Mustangs' annual success. And as a matter of fact, Hooks had to dissect a key piece of that defense before the season even started, placing nose tackle Jonathan Feathers at the quarterback position. Feathers will be relied heavily upon to keep Ennis's high-powered offense off the field on Saturday.
We're looking forward to run the ball and pass at the same time and give them a whole different kind of looks and try to execute on every play that we possibly can.
Feathers remembers the Mustangs' narrow 10-7 victory over the Class 4A Division I state champ Bay City earlier in the year. He also remembers West Orange Stark's glory days in the late 80s, when the Mustangs appeared in the Class 4A title game 3 years straight, coming back with the ultimate goal in 86 and in 87.
Well, it's time. We've been way too long. We've had 4 or 5 state championship teams here that didn't do it. 1995, we had the best team in Texas, I thought, lost to Lamar. 1997, we had an excellent team, lost to Lamar. So, I mean, there have been a couple in the 90s that we should have had that we didn't have. And, you know, so a little poetic justice maybe come back home after about 3 tries.
Well, that game kicked off at 1 o'clock at Texas Stadium. It's already well underway. In fact, Ennis has a 14-0 lead. That game now in the 2nd quarter. Now, the second game of that doubleheader at Texas Stadium is the Class 2A Division II Texas Bowl between Salina and the Mart Panthers. This is a matchup that everybody wanted last year. Let's take a look at the two-time defending state champs from Salina and their head coach, G.A. Moore.
Coach Moore, well, you're a legend. Once again, another state championship. Congratulations.
To say that Salina is on a roll might be an understatement. Salina is by far the hottest team in state. 40 games played, 40 games won. The Bobcats have won 2 state titles and won Fox Sports Net 7-on-7 state championship during the win streak. As for the reasons for the program's success, Jerry Jones did talk to the team on Wednesday at Texas Stadium, but he doesn't get the credit for the team's recent success. All of the signs point to Salina head coach G.A. Moore. The state's active winningest head coach owns 373 wins and 6 state championships in his 37 years as a head coach. Salina's win over Stanton a week ago allows Moore and the Bobcats to take a shot at the three-peat.
That seems like the most important one we've ever played, but that's the way it seemed last year and the year before also. And, you know, just getting to play in a state championship game, you know, I don't think you can get any higher than that as far as the feelings and the excitement.
Moore brings back a slew of talent from last year's state championship team. Senior quarterback Adam Herring can run or throw when needed, connecting with almost 60% of his passes in the year 2000. Adam Harvey and Jamie White are Herring's go-to men. Harvey has rushed for more than 1,500 yards and 28 touchdowns.
We got tons of talent on this team, and I think that's what's, you know, led us to a state championship. You know, going too deep in every position with skilled people.
Despite having maybe Salina's best all-around team in the past decade, this team will no doubt have its work cut out for them Saturday when Mart head coach Terry Cron and Quan Cosby come rolling into Texas Stadium.
Yeah, he's real good. We just go out there and downfield block on him, tackle him, just don't let him escape, just surround him, gang tackle him.
They're going to be wide open, and they're going to be quick, and they're going to be fast, and they're going to get after you, and that's just the way that Terry coaches, and you know, it's going to be a wild ball game, I'm afraid.
On that note, let the wildness begin.
Salina versus Mart was the state championship matchup that everybody wanted last year, but they split divisions at the playoffs. Mart winning the Division I state championship, Salina Division II. Well, you're going to get it this year. Salina versus Mart for the 2A Division II championship. And right now, let's take a look at those Mart Panthers of Coach Terry Cron.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Quan and Quincy. Happy birthday.
Mart twin brothers and stars, Quan and Quincy Cosby, turn 18 Saturday. But will they be able to celebrate? The present they want isn't in stores, and most certainly won't fall into their laps.
We got to win because, you know, pretty much everybody in the family is going to be me and my brother's birthday present. And it'll be nice to win back-to-back.
A state championship win over Salina would be an ultimate way to spend a birthday. And more important, settle a score that has been brewing for a year. Mart dominated Boyd in last year's Division I state final. But a week later, talk of 2A supremacy shifted to Salina's repeat accomplishment in Division II.
The feeling of being Division I, Division II, there being 2 state champions, you know, it's just, you still wonder, you know, you wish you could play, and so that there'll be one and there won't be any doubt in anybody's mind.
Quan has tortured the opposition this season on both sides of the ball and on special teams. But he was kind enough to give one bit of advice.
There's a lot more to Mart than me. Our team has lots and lots of talent, probably the most in the state. You know, it's just, I mean, we have so many weapons. Salina going to have to watch. It's not, if they key on me, they're going to lose the game.
Mart has certainly been put to the test this postseason with a narrow victory over undefeated Lone Oak in overtime in the regional semis and a thrilling 20-point comeback against undefeated Refugio in last week's state semifinal. The experience of winning tight games is great. The Panthers feel they have to play much better to have a similar result against Salina.
We're not playing as especially the last game, as good as Salina is. They manhandled and dominated a good Stanton team last week, and that's really concerns me. As good as they look, And at times, as bad as we have looked, we're going to have to put it all together. I know that.
It's a matchup that both teams quietly hope for. The Panthers and Bobcats come in with an unbelievable combined winning streak of 70 games. They've been number 1 and 2 all season and now have a chance to settle the dispute once and for all.
This year, finally get to play each other, and I hope this will let some of the people know, who's the best team is, and I hope we come out on top.
It's just a great matchup for Texas football, and for me, one of the biggest 2A games in history. So we're proud to be a part of it, and be at the right place at the right time. But we'd like to take care of our business and come out with a championship.
That's Salina and Martin, the Class 2A Division II Texas Bowl played tonight at Texas Stadium. Also, the Class 1A State Championship, Stratford and Burkeville play at 5:30 at Waco ISD Stadium. Stay with us. More to come from the Astrodome. Welcome back to the Astrodome. We're at halftime in the Class 5A Division II Texas Bowl between Katy and John Tyler. The Lions are trailing 21-14 to the Katy Tigers. Well, it's about time we're going to break the announcement of our Class 5A through 6-man Players of the Year as announced by Fox Sports Net and Texas Football Magazine. Greg, let's send it back up to you and talk about these Players of the Year.
All right, thank you, Keith. And you look at them, and all very deserving guys. And I think the common thread through all of these Players of the Year, playmakers. Cedric Benson, we saw him last week, Shea Walker, and 40 carries, 249 yards. Tremendous year for Cedric Benson from Midland Lee, the 5A Player of the Year. Dave Campbell's Texas Football Player of the Year from Fox Sports Net.
Cedric Benson is done going for the yardage.
And the other guys, when you look down the list, Kendall Briles from Friendship, Ty Gunn from LaGrange, Quan Cosby of Mart, J.B. Stone, the quarterback from Iran, and the 6-man Player of the Year, James Stocks, the running back from Grand Falls Royalty. 21-14, the halftime score. And we'll be back in the second half here at the Astrodome on Fox Sports Net. We near the start of the second half with John Tyler trailing Katy 21-14 here at the half of the Reliant Astrodome in Houston. And, Shea Walker, as we get near the start of the second half, a couple of things really come to mind. Both of these teams came into this football game with very stout defenses, but we've seen evidence of the explosiveness on offense from both of these schools.
Well, and that's the other moniker that these guys brought into the ball game today, Craig, is that they are explosive on offense. John Tyler has got this bevy of running backs that we keep talking about. But again, they bring guys in, 7, 8, 9 guys touch the football for them running it. And then again, for Katy, what can you say? These guys mix up the run and the pass so well that they keep every defense that they played so far this year on their heels. And again, scoring 21 points in the first half is just nothing short of excellent for the Katy Tigers.
Well, we've seen the explosiveness from guys like Jamel Branch and Keith Mouton, and yet it comes back to the veteran leader, the senior Jared Kaspar, just kind of keeping it all together for Katy's offense.
Yeah, he's not only keeping it together, but he is the leader. We've seen him take the play a couple of different times. He's taken the initiative. He goes back. He doesn't see anybody open, but he knows he's getting a lot of man-to-man coverage, and he's breaking off some big runs, and it's the guy that's unaccounted for, and it's really causing this John Tyler defense some headaches.
All right, second half of today's game coming up here at the Astrodome. 21-14, Katy on top. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome back to Texas Stadium at halftime of the Class 5A Division II Texas Bowl. 21-14 lead for the Tigers. And Coach Johnston, talk about the first half, some things you've been able to do offensively. Coach Wilson said on the other side of the half that they're seeing some things from you guys that they didn't see on film. Is that largely attributed to Gerald Jones' absence?
Well, no, I think the fact that we've grown offensively, we've got into other formations and motions and things like that since we played them first game of the year. But stuff we've been doing all season long.
You led at halftime of last year's game. Was that brought up not to let up and have the same kind of letdowns as last year?
Last year's last year. This year's this year. That's behind us.
Good luck to you, Coach. Right. Appreciate your time. Mike Johnston, head coach of the Katy Tigers, leading 21-14 at the half. Craig, back upstairs. This is you.
All right. Thank you very much, Keith. And you see Jared Kaspar there, and I think the message pretty simple for Mike Johnson. Last year's last year. This year's this year. Last year, of course, they did have the halftime lead on Garland before the Owls came back and won. But, you don't get to this point of playing 3 times for a state title in 6 years unless you know how to make adjustments. And really, it's going to have to be John Tyler, I think, that's going to have to make the preponderance of the adjustment, Shea Walker, because when you look at these highlights in the first half, you can see how Katy was able to strike quick, even though it was John Tyler who would get on the scoreboard first.
And the thing about John Tyler, Craig, that they're going to have to do is they're not going to try to get crazy with anything. They're going to continue to run the football. And again, you see opening on the 6th play. It's a bounce-back play by Robert Garman. And again, takes it to the house, 77-yard touchdown run. Big momentum lifter for John Tyler early on. But, of course, bouncing right back is Katy. We talked about the go route or the fade. You got Mouton running down, Caspar laying in a perfect strike. And then Branch again, as we've seen him do all season, able to stick it inside of the pylon. Coming back, though, is John Tyler responding to tie this game up. They get an excellent block there by the quarterback, and Edwards bounces it outside, taking it into the house. Again, a lot of firepower, and then we got Branch coming right back on a very diversified drive by Katy. They threw the ball to tight end. They got it down with Caspar running a little bootleg, and then Branch finishing it off for the touchdown.
And I think that's got to be certainly the concern for Alan Wilson, is that he's being hurt on both ends, both through the air and on the ground.
But he made that comment going into the half, Craig, about some of the adjustments that they're going to have to make, and one of the things that he reiterated was they were going to have to get better at tackling.
Second half underway. The kickoff fielded at the 20-yard line by Ross. A short kick, but good downfield coverage. Only a 4-yard return by Ross, as the Tigers had their special teams demon down there, Ernie Wheeler, along with John Lawrence, to make the tackle. And you look at these numbers and look at the time of possession and the first downs, way in favor of Katy.
They are. And the thing that really jumps out at you, again, it's highlighted there, 0 passing yards for John Tyler. And again, how do you have a team, Craig, that marches to the state championship game, playing as well as they do, beating the opponents that they beat, and they really don't throw the football that well? It's a real testament to the coaching staff and this football team.
Well, you said that John Tyler was going to have to be able to throw the football a little bit to have a good shot at winning this game today. And so far they haven't been able to throw the ball, and it's hurt them a bit. Meanwhile, they start the second half, and they start it much the same way they did the first half, with mistakes. The penalty on the false start. Tommy Griffin is in at quarterback right now.
Craig, you also mentioned just there at the break about Katy's senior leadership on this particular team, and the fact that they've made a run through the last 4 state championship games, obviously being disqualified in 1998. But again, they won it in 97, disqualified 98, lost last year. Now here they are again, but this group of seniors, they're 58-3 over the last 4 seasons at Katy, and that's just a phenomenal record to go along with their excellent record in the 90s.
Meanwhile, Tommy Griffin will try to fire up John Tyler's offense. After that 5-yard penalty, marches it back inside the 20-yard line. 1st and 15, the toss to Garman. Kind of trying to find his way to run, and he'll get the 5 yards back that he lost, but Adam Bob Wilson in on the tackle for the Katy Tigers.
And as you look at the play, the end of the play, there's 5 Katy Tigers, and there's 1 Tyler Lion. And the reason is because Garman had success earlier in the game when he bounced it back going the other direction. But again, he's trying to get a little bounce back here. All of his offensive linemen and blockers are all on the other side of the field. He's got 1 guy there trying to help him out, and he's got 5 guys from Katy teeing off on him.
Matt Nesbitt, Jeff Gott over there on the tackle. 2nd down and 10. Remember, there was the 1st down penalty for the loss of 5. Griffin on the option keeper nearly breaks it and takes it out to the 32 as he picked up close to 7 yards. Nesbitt in on the tackle again. Josh Triplett helping out. It'll bring up 3rd and short for JT.
Another impressive run by backup quarterback Tommy Griffin. We see him sliding down the line of scrimmage, and he just explodes as he gets outside the tackle there and cuts it upfield. He's a very tough guy to bring down, as we saw earlier. Katy wasn't able to tackle him as he bounced a couple of those option plays back around to the opposite field.
Lions need about 4 here in the wing left set on 3rd down. Griffin with the toss back to Garman, who will churn ahead, but he's going to be stopped short of the 1st down, and that's Jackson. Aaron Jackson, who was tackled by Jeff Gott. He is short of the 1st down, however. Katy defense has held. John Tyler will have to punt the football.
We've seen Ogletree. He's boomed some punts earlier today. See if he can get another good one here.
Jeff Gott coming over on the stop for the Katy Tigers. Keith Mouton and Jamel Branch back deep to receive the kick from Ryan Ogletree, who's had a couple of punts of 40 yards each with excellent hang times.
And that's the key against these dangerous return guys. You've got to get the ball up and hang it in the air.
Another excellent kick Branch at the 21-yard line, fumbled it and had to fall back on it at the 22. That's 45 yards. It's 45 yards way up in the air, too. He's getting a lot of hang time on these punts.
Greg, he boomed that ball, but give a ton of credit to cover man Robert Garman, the guy that we saw break the 77-yard touchdown earlier playing on offense and defense. He runs down. He causes Branch to fumble the ball. Excellent job. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Katy leads John Tyler 21-14, and Shea Walker, do you sense a big play coming for the Tigers?
It wouldn't be uncharacteristic to see Katy try to throw the home run ball here. It looked like Caspar was talking to some of his guys before this snap to see if they go for the knockout.
First possession of the second half. It will be a draw play to Branch on first down, and he'll pick up a couple to the 25-yard line. Robert Garman comes over to make the stop, as well as Fletcher Session for John Tyler. 7-point lead for Katy here after JT could not move the ball on its first possession. On second down and 8, Konashek, one receiver, along with Mouton. And the work from the eye, the fullback is Chase Jones, and Jamel Branch, of course, the tailback. Branch with the toss, and nothing there. Cujo defense equal to the challenge. Jermaine Nelson leads the assault, along with Matthew Melton, and it's third down now for Katy. Caspar trying to get the Tigers moving again here in the third quarter. Katy looking for its third overall state championship. Their first state title came back in 1959 as a Class A school. They were 1A. They beat Sundown for the state title. By the way, Sundown is still a Class A school. Katy, of course, now in 5A. Third and 7. From the shotgun, the low snap, and Caspar with time and finds Jonathan Tarver. And Tarver, the big play, takes it down to the 43-yard line, 34 yards before Matthew Melton can run him down.
JT head coach Alan Wilson, as he went into the half, talked about, again, the motion, kind of mixing his guys up a little bit. Well, here's Katy. They bring the motion in, then they bounce Tarver out of the backfield. He's uncovered. The linebacker's got to run with him for John Tyler. He didn't do it and picks up a big gain.
And a great block by Eric Konashek, the wide receiver, to help spring Tarver after the catch. First and 10 at the 43 for Katy. The toss this time to Branch with a convoy. And Jamel Branch picks up 7 on first down. Melton and Jackson, the tackles for John Tyler. So Katy comes out mixing the run and the pass again and moving the ball effectively here in the third quarter.
That's what they've had so much success with, Craig, in this particular ball game. And really, I think the thing that is continuing to give John Tyler headaches is the fact that Katy is putting their man in motion. That does two things for them. That lets Caspar know what the defensive coverage is going to be. And then it also it seemingly is kind of confusing some of the linebackers for John Tyler, and they're missing a couple of assignments and giving up these big plays.
This time, the counter coming back. And a big pop there as carrying the football for Katy was Eric Worley. We saw him carry early, picked up 4 yards before Jermaine Nelson made the hit. Meanwhile, you look at Paget McGee. We understand it's torn knee ligaments, and that really hurts. McGee, their starting middle linebacker, and the Cujo defense has missed his influence. He made like the first 4 tackles for John Tyler before suffering the knee injury.
Yeah, it's too bad to see that young man out of the ball game. You hope that's something. He's only a junior, so you hope he can come back by that and be prepared to play again next year.
Third and a long yard to go, and Branch stops short of the first down. Fletcher Session dropped him for a loss of a yard, brings up fourth down. We understand that the injury to Paget McGee's knee is a sprained knee ligament. It's not a tear, and that is good news. They at least the initial look is for the sprain. And meanwhile, it's 4th down and 2, and Mike Johnson saying, let's go for it here.
Well, what an excellent play right there by Fletcher Session. We saw him go out of the game earlier with a partially hyperextended elbow. He's all bandaged up and taped up and back in, stopping Branch for a loss on that last play.
Big 4th down here. Caspar to turn it upfield. He's got the first down. Picked up 4. Jared Caspar. Gutty run there on an option play on 4th down and 2, and he picks up 4.
It is, and he decided to keep that ball early on in his option play. As he takes the snap here, he goes in, he makes the handoff, fake handoff, and then he's looking, he's not even looking to pitch that ball, Craig. He turns it upfield. He knows he only needs 2 yards, senior leadership again. He's going to go get that first down.
Andre Mills saw him coming but couldn't wrap him up. Jermaine Nelson finally made the tackle, but not before Caspar picked up the first down, and you see his rushing numbers. On 1st and 10 with 3 wide receivers now. Caspar to go deep for Konishek, and he can't hold on. The coverage from Matthew Melton, the free safety, to knock it out of the hands of Aaron Konishek.
Konishek doing a nice job of releasing downfield. Again, Craig, we've seen the corners come up and play tough man-to-man. They're playing a little bit softer coverage now. Melton is a safety, not really a good cover corner, as is Ross. And he lets Konishek get the release downfield, but does an excellent job of coming through and breaking the hands down and not letting Konishek grip the ball. Another great pass by Caspar, as you see there, almost had it.
Didn't you just take that when the safety would just kind of play catch up and knock it out of your hands at the last minute?
That never happened.
No, okay.
Not that I can recall.
All right. 2nd and 10 at the 31-yard line. This time, the reverse coming around, and Mouton breaking tackles, but he cannot escape Fletcher Session. Dropped him for a loss of 6.
Craig, Fletcher Session is dominating this particular series for John Tyler defense. We saw him on 3rd and short go back and drop Jamel Branch for a yard loss. Here we see him pursuing on a play on a reverse. Looks like Mouton makes the first guy miss. Looks like he might have some running room, and a blocker out there, and Session just defeats the block and goes down and drags down Mouton. Excellent play by Fletcher Session.
I got to say, this is a crucial series for the Cujo defense here as we tick down to 5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter, and they're down a touchdown. They need to stop. Katy trying to widen the gap here. On 3rd and 16, Mouton, the man in motion. And this time, it's a little wraparound draw, and it goes nowhere at all to Eric Worley because the Lions were there defensively. Greg Seaton, a senior, in on the tackle, and it's 4th down for Katy.
Craig, you said it. That was a huge stand by the John Tyler defense to go ahead and stop that particular series and drive, because they're trailing right now by 7 points. Another 7 on top of that would be very difficult for those guys to come back on, even though they've done it this year, even in the quarterfinal game against Waco. This Katy offense is just too potent, and a nice job stopping that wraparound draw on 3rd and long.
Lions to punt, the Tigers to punt the ball to the Lions. High, arcing kick. And this one will go down to the goal line and in the end zone. Was that touched? That ball got loose in the end zone. It's a touchdown. A touchdown for Katy. A mistake made by John Tyler there in the end zone. Aaron Ross got his hands on the football, and it looked like Alex Zavetsky fell on the football for Katy, and a huge touchdown for the Tigers.
Craig, and that is a very deflating moment right now for John Tyler. See 3 or 4 of their guys just sitting down on the carpet right now here at the Reliant Astrodome. Just took the wind out of their sails. As Aaron Ross goes back on the punt, not real sure why he's even going to field the ball down there inside the 10-yard line, but as he goes back and he tries to dance away from it, it bounces, it hits him in his left thigh, and Zavetsky heads-up play, falls on it in the end zone for a touchdown. Well, real critical play right there.
Extra point kick is no good, but there are flags down. And we'll see on whom the penalty is called. Earlier, we had a Katy point after try missed the mark, but they got a second chance due to offsides against John Tyler, and this may be the case again.
Illegal participation.
In this case, an illegal substitution and another opportunity for Katy. And things just continue to unravel now for Alan Wilson's team. So the illegal participation call has moved half the distance, and it gives J.D. Williams another opportunity to go for the score. Mike Johnston knows that's a Christmas gift there, and he's happy to take it. So, too, are the Katy Tigers, who now lead it by 14. 4:08 to go in the 3rd quarter. This mistake is a big one. Certainly reason to celebrate right now if you root for the Katy Tigers. A huge play on the fumble into the end zone, and it really wasn't even so much a fumble as it was just a glancing bounce off of Aaron Ross's thigh pad into the end zone. Alex Zavetsky recovered the fumble, and Zavetsky's fumble recovery in the end zone now has Katy on top 28-14, and Aaron Ross will try to put that behind him as he awaits the kickoff to come here. 2/3 of the way through quarter number 3. Reliant Astrodome, side of the 5A Division II Texas Bowl. The kickoff by Williams. High and short, and Ross does field this one at the 17-yard line. And up the sidelines goes Aaron Ross. Nice return by Ross. Well, Katy looking for its second state championship under Mike Johnston. They got the first 3 years ago, 1997. And unlike today where Katy was favored, the Tigers were not favored. They were an underdog to nationally ranked Longview. But Bronston Carroll and the Tigers gave Mike Johnston his first state championship. They shut out Longview that day, 24-0. They get the victory, and that was 3 years ago, and Mike Johnston looking for another one.
And really the beginning of the run for the Katy Tigers here in the 90s. That was their first state championship. They qualified the next year. They were played in it last year. Here they are again in 2000.
First and 10 from the 28-yard line for John Tyler. Lions need some offensive momentum right now. Griffin lost the football, but JT gets it back on first down. Jeff Gott knocked the football loose, and it looked like the fumble recovery was made by Ralph Caraway, who checks out now. It's a gain of 3 yards. You see how tough the Katy defense has been, especially in the second half. They're only allowing 7 points per game, period.
Right.
And 34 total points in the second half.
And they've pitched 3 shutouts this year. Last week they had another one against San Antonio Marshall in the semifinals.
Remember, John Tyler with only 4 first downs today. 2 of those coming on touchdowns. Here, skipping through a little bit of traffic there for the Lions was Garmin. Got on the stop along with Matt Nesbitt. Those 2 linebackers have been around the ball a lot of today. And it brings up 3rd down and 4.
How about an outstanding job that defensive coordinator Gary Joseph has done with these Katy Tigers, Craig. Again, there's not a Division I superstar player on that team, but there's 11 guys. They're all committed to the call. They all execute the assignments and game plans by Coach Joseph and the other defensive coaches, and they've just been phenomenal all season.
On 3rd down, flags go down, and that was movement there. Ralph Caraway got the pitch. Caraway and Jackson were in the backfield. Well, to add to your point, Shay, the Class 5A All-State team was announced yesterday. It was in newspapers across the state today. There is not one Katy Tiger on the first team, offense or defense. Astonishing when you think about what Mike Johnston's team has done on defense this year. Nobody was a first-team All-Stater.
And to carry that just one step further, if you look at the Houston Chronicle, just the Houston area, top 100 players, there's not a defensive guy from Katy on that list as well.
Sounds like we're talking about Midland Lee other than Cedric Benson last week. That was the same story. And, of course, if Katy goes on and wins today's game, there are going to be those who would say, hey, boy, wouldn't it be something if Katy were to play Lee? But first things first, with Garmin and Jackson back there, Katy trying to close out JT, and John Tyler says they're far from finished. McGee to throw on 3rd down, and the ball's caught for a first down by Matthew Melton, who was in there as a wingback. They pick up 20 yards. It's the first completed pass today for John Tyler, and it comes at a crucial time in this game.
And I'm looking for catches for Matthew Melton so far this year, and I only show him to have a total of 3. Actually, let me take that back. That's 7.
And
7 catches. That's his 8th catch of the year. But again, does a nice job. He plays safety, so it's a good job of him recognizing the soft belly there that was allowed to him on the corner. He did a nice little post move, turns it out to the corner, and again, give McGee a lot of credit for finding him.
Cletus McGee completing just his 14th pass of the season. The toss on 1st down. This time it's Mills. Andre Mills with some running room, and finally run out of bounds at the 41-yard line, but he picks up close to 11 yards, and it's another first down. Kerry Gooseby in on the tackle for Katy. So we'll see, unless they say the foot went out, like right at the down marker. So it's just shy. Well, they may want to check this. They moved the down marker to 2nd. Now they say it's enough for the first down, and it is 10 yards and a first down for John Tyler. So the pass, now the run, they'd only had 4 first downs at that point. They get back-to-back first downs on consecutive plays.
And they're doing it, Craig, in big chunks. These aren't little gains here. They picked up about 20 yards on each of those particular plays. It's put them down in excellent field position now to see if they can keep this drive going.
1st and 10 at the 41. Jackson back there along with Garmin. This time on first down. A little bit of running room ahead, just burrowing straight ahead for a couple by McGee, and it's second down as Nesbitt makes the stop for Katy.
Greg, you mentioned Aaron Jackson in the backfield. He's also the starting defensive tackle, and he missed the first game when they played Katy. He was ineligible, but in the first game of the season, he wasn't able to play. So, you know, he's kind of loaded for Tiger here coming into this ball game.
Second down. The toss goes back. Good running room, and there goes Edwards, and he has a first down. Cliff Edwards' second carry of the game. His first one went for 30 yards and a touchdown. He picks up 14 there before Nesbitt can run him down.
Greg, this is nothing more than us against you, mathematics football. Hey, here we come. Can you stop us? Again, there's nothing that you see the pitch back, and again, McGee doing a nice job of leading out and blocking, and it's just an excellent attribute to have your quarterback go down and be able to not only get a glancing blow, but get a solid seal-off block on a defender.
After the mistake in the Katy touchdown, John Tyler in an important drive here as they go back to Garmin. And Garmin a couple to the 22, maybe 3 yards down to the 21 before a swarm of red jerseys led by Fred Winston make the stop for Katy. Down to a minute to go here in the third quarter. Second down. And 7 needed for the first, a long 7. As Alan Wilson looks for the answer here out of his offense. Edwards is in the backfield along with Aaron Jackson. It's Edwards who gets the call this time. Turns it inside, and good running by Cliff Edwards again. That time he gets it down close to the 15-yard line as he picks up 5 yards. Make it 6 down to the 16-yard line as Winston makes the stop. Third down and 2 needed for the first down, and that's going to do it for the third quarter unless John Tyler hurries to the line of scrimmage, and they may try to get one more play off here before the quarter expires on third down and 2. The toss to Garmin outside, the first down, and John Tyler has another first down, and they'll be threatening going the other way to start the fourth quarter. Jeff Joseph made the tackle. We've come to the end of 3 quarters of the 5A Division II Texas Bowl here at the Reliant Astrodome. It's the Katy Tigers 28, the John Tyler Lions 14. Houston, Texas, site of the 5A Division II Texas Bowl here this afternoon at the Reliant Astrodome. I'm Craig Way along with Shea Walker and Keith Fletcher. We begin the fourth quarter. Katy Tigers lead the John Tyler Lions 28-14. Katy about 25 miles to the west of here on I-10. John Tyler, of course, from the heart of East Texas. Tyler Rose country here. And John Tyler starting this drive had only 4 first downs total in the game. They got 4 on this drive. Their longest drive right now of this football game as they've taken 4 minutes off the clock on this drive. And they have it first and 10 to the Lions at the Katy Tiger 12. Cletus McGee at quarterback. The toss back to Mills. And Andre Mills down inside the 10, picks up close to 4 yards to the 8. We bring you the Gatorade game summary, and you see Katy being able to do it through the air and on the ground. John Tyler sticking to the ground.
They've been very balanced as Katy, and again, they're keeping the John Tyler defense on their heels, mixing up the run, the pass, and oh, by the way, every once in a while, Casper runs the option play, picking up first down.
Zaveski, of course, with a huge fumble recovery in the end zone off the ball that skipped off of Aaron Ross. The last possession for JT. Toss back to Garmin, driving to the end zone, and Garmin's knee touchdown at the 1-yard line. But he picked up 7 yards, and it'll be first and goal, John Tyler at the 1, as Jeff Gott couldn't hold on to him, and Jeff Joseph sliding off of him as well. This is a tough man to bring down.
He's a tough man to bring down, and he's a tough runner. And watch here as he goes through, Craig. He breaks tackles. He's bouncing off and on. He gets a little bit dinged up in the pile here as he comes limping off the field after this play. But an excellent effort there by Robert Garman as he just lowers those big head and shoulders, and he drives down toward the goal line.
Joseph finally held on to bring him down, but it's first and goal as Garman comes out now. First and goal, John Tyler at the Katy 1. Early fourth quarter, and JT in need of a touchdown to get back close. McGee. The toss back, and lunging for the goal line is Aaron Jackson, but he didn't get across. Stopped just short. You saw the red jerseys, Wheeler down there, along with Fred Winston. Adam Baum Wilson also there, and Matt Nesbitt. They had 5 red jerseys right at the ball carrier, Aaron Jackson. It'll be second and goal inside the 1.
Instead of pitching that ball back to Aaron Jackson, he's a big horse. This guy is 6'2", 220 pounds. He averages over 6.5 yards a carry. I just give him the rock right here in the belly and see if he can't drive it through.
The back split on second and goal. McGee. The toss goes back again. This time to Mills. He dives for the end zone. Lions think they're in, but no indication from the officials.
Line judges marked him down on the half-yard line, Craig.
And once more, Andre Mills is short, and it's third and goal for JT.
And again, you've got big Aaron Jackson back there, 6'2", 220 pounds, and we're seeing the ball be pitched back, and it's going back to about the 5 or 6 yard line into the running backs are trying to make it up. Again, you see here, he takes the ball deep in back, he tries to cut it back, and that Katy defense is just too aggressive in pursuing. Trying to stick it out there at the last second. Lucky he didn't fumble the football.
Third and goal inside the 1 for JT. McGee, the keeper. And he's close and did get across, I think. They say he's over. Still no indication.
He got across on second effort. It's going to be whether or not the side judge calls him down. There you go.
He's over. Touchdown, John Tyler. Delayed call, but Cletus McGee was leaning forward, and he gets across for the touchdown and has John Tyler back in this game.
Very emotional touchdown right there for John Tyler as they go in. Cletus McGee just pushing, lunging in, and he gets it on about the 3rd or 4th effort try. Looks like Craig does. He went in leaning across trying to get the football over. He broke the plane, but shortly thereafter the ball was slapped out of his hands and Katy jumped on it, and that's what the decision was. That's what took so much time to make the call.
Jonathan Fox, a high snap, and the extra point is blocked. No good, and it might have been Jamel Branch who got in and blocked that on special teams. It was a high snap, and it was bobbled. And as it came down, Branch got a piece of it.
Branch has been timing this all game, and he's been flying off the corner, laying out for that ball. He hasn't blocked one yet, but the high snap brings it to him. Here we are coming at 28, Katy, 20, John Tyler. We're in a ball game.
Jamel Branch, who scored 2 touchdowns on offense, comes up with the blocked extra point on special teams. Looked like he might have hurt a finger at first, but he's going right out there, ready with a kickoff coverage team. And Alan Wilson trying to get his guys fired up here after that touchdown drive.
Jamel Branch is just a tremendous athlete, Craig. We see him now. He's playing just phenomenal football. We talked about all of his rushing accolades, and then you mentioned earlier the game that he had last year in the state finals against Garland. At the time, he set a 5A title game rushing record with 249 yards. So, very valuable player on this Katy offense.
And he'll be back to receive the kickoff here. 9:23 to go. That was a long drive for John Tyler, but it does end in points. And Branch wants the ball a yard deep, and he'll put down the knee. So Katy will start from the Tiger 20-yard line with 9:16 to go in the game. And John Tyler with the first points here of the final quarter. Katy with the 8-point advantage. An important blocked extra point as Jared Caspar gets the instructions from head coach Mike Johnson.
The extra point was blocked by Katy, Craig, but if you recall, twice now we've had Katy get an extra point blocked, and then they missed one, and they got to retry them, one on an offside penalty and then the other on an illegal substitution.
Let's see what happens here as the Tigers try to answer the Lions score. They spread the field with 3 wide receivers. The draw play to Branch. and there goes Jamel Branch. Branch with a huge gainer on first down, takes it to the 48-yard line, a 28-yard rumble on first down. If he hurt his finger on that block, he sure didn't show it there.
He didn't have any problems. He cracks through the left sideline. He picks up an excellent block there by Chris Sebo, the pulling guard, who comes in and seals off the inside. Branch cuts it up right behind there and does just a good. This guy's speed is incredible as he breaks it upfield.
Garmin comes over there to help out on the tackle to help save what could have been an 80-yard touchdown run. But it's a first down, nevertheless, for Katy at the Tiger 48. Williams, the man in motion. And the run back to the left side, and a nice defensive play for John Tyler by Jonathan Beverly, the defensive tackle, to get a hand on Jared Kaspar, and he limited to a 2-yard gain as we go down to Keith Fletcher.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. Well, Gerald Jones, we talked about in the pregame, out with the fractured collarbone. Gerald, how's the experience been watching from the sidelines and not being able to get in?
Well, this season I played a lot, and, I watch from the sideline, and it's not all that, but, I've had a great season, and, I'm just glad we're here.
Talk about your team being able to adjust, and they're doing pretty well offensively.
Yeah, we changed some stuff up during the halftime, and we came out moving the ball, and it looks like we're doing pretty good.
All right, thanks a lot, Gerald. Good luck to you. Craig, back upstairs to you.
Thank you, Keith. And Gerald Jones, emblematic of Katy's team concept there, saying they're doing pretty well. And 5-yard gain there by Jared Kaspar on second down. Big third down play coming up here, Shea, as we draw closer to the midway mark of the final quarter.
This is a big series. Every series from this point forward is going to be huge for the John Tyler defense. They have got to stop Katy and get the football back in their offensive hands.
Third down and about 4 needed for the first. The direct snap back to Branch. And Jamel Branch has the first down and more. Branch the man again as he takes it down to the 30-yard line. 15 yards. Mills makes the tackle, lining up Branch right beside Kaspar and direct snapping it to the tailback.
And that's the thing that is so frustrating when you try to defend these Katy Tigers. They have so many weapons. They come at you from so many different sets and formations. They're just drive the ball down your throat. They throw it on you. They hit you on the corner. They've got speed and agility, and they're just tough to keep up with.
Branch over 100 yards rushing today now. 20 carries, 124 yards. Katy at the JT 30. The toss back to guess who? Branch this time. Legs taken out from under him by Garmin, who's played a tough game on both sides of the football. Look at this score from the 4A Division II Texas Bowl. West Orange Stark has great defense going into this game. Ennis with an incredible offense. We said that would be the matchup. Well, the offense is bearing out today. Ennis with a huge lead, 31-0 at the half.
No doubt about it. And West Orange Stark is undefeated coming into this ball game.
Amazing, but the job that Sam Harrell has done at Ennis in such a short time. They got so close losing a heartbreaker to Stephenville in the semifinals last year, and they're well on their way to their first state title in 25 years. Second down and 9. Branch again getting the call. Shaking off tacklers and close to another first down. He picks up 7. Garmin and Melton team up for the stop. Branch, even though he's carried the football a lot today, and that is his 21st carry of the game, 22nd carry of the game, still looking very fresh.
He's looking fresh. I tell you, Craig, as I look down on the field and I see him, he reminds me of a guy. He's not a big guy. He's 5'9", 165 pounds. He reminds me of a big Gerald McNeil. And that he's so fast, he's got such excellent balance, and he's so quick-footed. He never takes a direct hit from anybody, but yet you can't catch up with the guy. And then you think, if I could just get to him, we could kill him, but they never reach him.
Kaspar to throw this time, caught by the fullback, Chase Jones, and that's another first down. Takes it down to the 12-yard line. Jared Kaspar, the rollout, dumps the ball off to the fullback, Chase Jones, who'd only caught 9 passes this season. And again, this is the Katy offense being very versatile.
So frustrating for a defense. This is a big series for John Tyler. Now we've got 5 minutes and 37 seconds left on the clock as Jones is forced out of bounds there. But again, John Tyler has got to put some pressure on Katy and stop them, and they've just not been able to do it, Craig. They haven't found an answer for this diversified offense.
I think the game is won or lost, or certainly One for Katy and loss for John Tyler on this drive if the Tigers put it in the end zone. Branch again, and this time JT's defense limiting him to 2 yards. Jermaine Nelson there on the tackle. 5.5 minutes remaining in the game. And it's that close to being a state championship. Second one in 4 seasons. Second one in 3 calendar years for Mike Johnston. Jared Kaspar trying to end it right now to get it in the end zone.
And that's really the thing missing from Katy's dominance in the 90s is the number of state championship trophies that they have in the trophy closet. They need to tag on one here to kind of solidify that moniker for the team of the 90s.
Now they're rolling back, and the pass back to the wide open tight end, Zach Lay, who gets it in the end zone for the touchdown. Zach Lay takes it home. Mouton with a block. And the versatility of the Katy offense continues its outstanding display this afternoon.
Greg, we talked earlier about just the incredible composure of Gerard Casper as he goes down. And he makes the plays, he makes the fakes, he takes the hit, he delivers the ball just in reach of Lay, who's able to turn it up. He gets a nice little seal block there. But again, give Casper a lot of credit with pressure coming on him, going away from his body, throws the ball to Lay. Lay's able to pick it up off the shoe top, take it in for the touchdown.
On the drive, Kaspar hit 2 players for passes, big passes, Jones and Lay, who each had only 9 catches for the season. Coming into today's game, their 10th catches were big ones. 15-point lead for Katy. They're closing in on another state title. Coverage of today's 5A Division II Texas Bowl Championship on Fox Sports Net has been brought to you by the University Interscholastic League. By your Texas Dodge dealers, official sponsor of the Texas High School State Championships. By Gatorade, is it in you? By Pepsi, proud sponsor of the Texas High School State Championships. And by IP Communications. Let us take you there. Well, Jared Kaspar and Jamel Branch and the rest of the Katy Tigers are taking the school to its 3rd state championship overall and 2nd in the last 4 seasons. And you see Mike Johnston there. That, Shea Walker, is a state championship drive in the 4th quarter to do 80 yards in 9 plays and 4:34.
When you're leading by a score, a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, to be able to do that and take John Tyler down the field in the manner that they did against that defense. And Craig, the way you mentioned it earlier, but the way that they did it, they ran the ball, they threw the ball, they had the 2 big pass plays to guys who normally don't catch the football for this Tiger offense. And yet, here's everyone on this team contributing to the drive.
That's part of what Mike Johnston talks about, kind of an ensemble effort. As he says, everybody kind of pitches in. They all kind of play different roles. You consider the fact that Gerald Jones, their 1,300-yard rusher, out for this game, and they still have plenty of weapons as the kickoff goes out of bounds. Of course, you'll be able to see highlights of this state championship game and all the other ones being played today on a special Saturday state championship edition of High School Extra Live. It's coming up tonight at midnight. Of course, you've been catching it all season long on Friday nights. We have the special Saturday championship edition tonight at midnight. And if you want to see the replay of this one, you can catch the encore presentation of Katy and JT. If you're staying up late night tonight, 2 a.m. is the next airing, early tomorrow morning. And get the feeling maybe some of those people might be awake to catch that replay, enjoy the Katy success all over again. Tigers with plenty to celebrate right now. The men in red with the big victory at the moment, but there's still 4:45 to go. JT not ready to pack it in just yet.
Craig, we talked about this earlier, too, in the quarterfinal game against Waco. This John Tyler team was trailing 21-0 in the 3rd period. They came back and tied the score at 21. On 3 straight possessions, they scored touchdowns. Ended up eventually winning that ball game in overtime. But they can put some points on the board in a hurry.
They could use a big kickoff return as Garmin fields it. Comes outside, and Garmin breaking tackles JT's had some good kickoff returns today as Garmin takes it out to the 41-yard line. That one 18 yards on the return. So that's where they'll have it. Ernie Wheeler once more getting downfield, but Alan Wilson knows time is starting to run out. You see the numbers obviously favoring Katy, especially through the air. Look at the balance on offense for the Tigers.
That's the thing that they have done all year, Craig, is they have gone through this. They have continued to pile up the points. They average 39 a game, 413 yards of average. They're not quite there yet, but again, an excellent balanced attack by the Katy Tigers.
John Tyler going 1st and 10 from the Lion 41. McGee looking to throw. Across the middle, and Garmin makes that catch, but he's dragged down right after the grab. And a good job for Katy by John Lawrence to hang on to him right after the catch was made.
Cletus McGee was getting a little pressure there, but Quincy Howard, number 88, the big 6'3", 190 pounds, tight end, wide receiver, was streaking down the middle of the field. Cletus McGee, again, not having time to take his head up and put his field of vision down far enough to pick up the Quincy Howard. That would have been a big play for Tyler if they could hit the home run ball, get a quick score.
Meanwhile, Katy is more than willing to give up the center of the field as long as that clock continues to move, and you see the time remaining. John Tyler with all 3 of its timeouts left. They use one right here. Some confusion there, and they'll try to get that worked out with 3:46 to go. Down 35-20. And time starting to run out for Alan Wilson's team.
The backup quarterback who came in and called the timeout, except he was actually lining up in the wide receiver position. So it looked like John Tyler may have been trying to put something a little bit in play there as they had him lined up out wide. As he got out, he saw something that didn't look right. He calls timeout.
Meanwhile, these were big winners of the just completed decade of the 90s. Austin Westlake in both Class 4A and 5A. Lamarck had that incredible run of 6 straight years getting to the state championship round. Cal Allen lost in the semifinals 5 of those 6 years to Lamarck. Stephenville, of course, the team of the 90s really in Class 4A, winning state championships. 93, 94, 98, 99. You see the other teams as well. There's the, you might say, the obligatory gratuitous all we want for Christmas is a state championship banner.
Although very creatively done.
Yes. You see those, and you see the Santa hats this time of year. That means your team is doing well. You're wearing Santa hats. 2nd and 7 from the 44 after the timeout. Pressure coming, and Leroy Thomas, who was there, goes down. Excellent pursuit. Leo Raspberry, one of the defensive ends who was in on the stop. A loss of 6 on the play, and that really hurts John Tyler.
And Cletus McGee, as he rolls out to his left, Craig, he's got blockers out there, but again, this is a non-passing team, and now they're trying to go and put the ball up in the air, and they had 2 guys who just ran right by Leo Raspberry. He wasn't where he was supposed to be or where they thought he was supposed to be, and then he applies pressure coming back on McGee, dropping him for the loss.
McGee felt that pressure, and now on 3rd down and 13, John Tyler needing a big play in a hurry. McGee, the throw, and over the outstretched hands of his intended target, Matthew Melton, as we send it down to the sidelines to Keith Fletcher.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. Well, no teams were kicked out of the playoffs or have to put another team back in. It's a good year at the UIL when they don't get all the bad press. Dr. Charles brought up talking about another completion to another outstanding football season.
Keith, it has been that. 2 great weekends of championships. We'll finish up tonight. What a great game this was. We're very pleased with the way things went this year. It's been an outstanding year for the UIL. We'd like to wish all of our schools, all 1,238 of them, a Merry Christmas.
Thanks, Chuck. Crank back upstairs to you.
All right. Charles has probably visited with all 1,238 at one time or another. Great job by Charles Brynup and the UIL athletic staff. Here goes McGee on 4th down, and he did not make the 1st down. He was short of the 1st down. Or, well, he's right at it. He's right at the 50-yard line. All depends on where they say he put the foot down. John Tyler trying to campaign there for that extra yard, and this is the end of the season for JT, really hanging by a thread if they don't get the 1st down, and they're going to have to call for a measurement.
From our vantage point, we can't see, but he needed to cross the 50-yard line, and it looks like they've got the ball spotted. About half of the ball's over the 50-yard line.
Now very, very close, but You know, like we said, this is basically JT's season just hanging by a thread even to keep the football here. Is it enough? No. And the ball will go over to Katy. And that'll just about do it. Fred Winston and Matt Nesbitt. And Nesbitt's been around the ball all day long today. Comes over to keep Cletus McGee from picking up the necessary yardage. Katy will take over on downs. And Jared Kaspar and the Tigers just moments away from wrapping up the state title.
Greg, as we look down on the stadium right there, is quite a good showing here of John Tyler and Katy fans that have showed up to the game today. I was reading in the paper that and a couple of buses leaving John Tyler High School this morning at 6 a.m. So it's been an early day, but a very fun day for a lot of these guys, and you know, just an excellent season turned in by John Tyler.
Absolutely, especially given the fact that they finished 3rd place in their district. And if folks wonder about the merits of 3 teams going to the playoffs, John Tyler certainly merited that, and there's a little more irony involved there as Branch gets the handoff for a yard on 1st down. Mike Johnston's first trip to the state championship round came in 1994, 6 years ago. They played Plano that game. Kyle Field 28-7, and Plano was a 3rd place finisher that year. This time, facing a 3rd place team, Katy will finish the job and get the state title. And you look at Jamel Branch and Mike Johnston, and I think he knows they're getting real close now. The clock runs after the 1-yard gain. 2nd down. Branch, such a big part of Katy's drive for the state title. He gets the call again. Branch picks up another 5 yards. That's his 25th carry for 140 yards this afternoon for Jamel Branch. He knows what a big moment this is for him. And he had a big part of it, and that's why Jamel Branch is our Pepsi player of the game. 25 carries, 140 yards to this point with 2 touchdowns, and don't forget the blocked extra point he had as well.
And he is the safety on the kick coverage team, so this guy is a very valuable player on the Katy offense. And Craig, he did this against a John Tyler defense that is only allowing 112 yards a game, and he individually right now has got over 140 yards. Just an incredible effort there by Jamel Branch.
So Branch and Katy closing in on it. We were talking about John Tyler getting to the state championship round as a 3rd place finisher in a very difficult district, 12-5A. Lufkin getting there, and Tyler Lee as well, making the state playoffs. And, you know, with those schools all getting in a tough route to go. And, you know, there'd been some criticism of 3 teams getting into the postseason, and there was a referendum this year, a binding referendum passed out across the state of Texas to school superintendents that would have, if passed, allowed for a 4th team to go, a 2nd one in the Division I bracket. I believe it's our understanding that that referendum will not pass, and they will keep it as is. You're going to basically see the Division I, Division II format as it is right now, unchanged for at least the next 3 years. I think a lot of folks are getting used to it. It's taken its knocks in the past, but you see some excellent teams. Look at Kaspar rolling out, hitting the tight end, Bo Davidson. And another 1st down. Garmin makes the tackle. Now Katy's in a position to run out the clock there on 3rd and 4. The rollout pass to the tight end goes for 17 yards.
We've seen these Katy receivers just show excellent awareness when they're in the secondary. They've got a lot of man-to-man coverage, as we highlighted before, but nice job of Kaspar just laying the ball in there. Bo Davidson, Eric Honishek, J.D. Williams, those guys catching the ball in their hands. And, of course, you've got Mouton, who's just about virtually unstoppable. And, I mean, they've really just thrown the wave of offense at you. Been very successful for Katy.
Tigers can now just run out the clock as we go inside 90 seconds. Branch, one more time carrying the football, one more time with positive yardage as he picks up close to 7 yards. And now John Tyler's going to spend a timeout here. They had 1 left, and they'll take one. 2nd down and 4. But Branch, his numbers continue to climb. 26 carries, 146 yards today. And, of course, it will be a memorable state championship for the folks in Katy. It will be their third. They won their Class A title in 1959, shutting out Sundown 14-0 in the Class A state championship. Also won in shutout fashion 3 years ago, beating Longview 24-0.
Going 16-0 in that campaign.
And now ready to go 16-0 again, and staking their own claim to being the best in Texas. And the one thing about the three teams going to the playoffs, it does fuel quite a bit of conversation. Wouldn't you like to see a matchup between Midland Lee and Katy now?
Well, without question, and I think that's what a lot of the purists, and this is the same argument that you get when you talk about the BCS in college football. You want to get down to where you see the two top guys playing each other, and that is one of the beefs for the purists. Is they want to see Division I, Division II. They don't care. They want to see Class 5A have a champion.
Well, they're going to have two very good ones. Lee last week, we saw win it in Austin, defending their Division I title by beating an excellent Austin Westlake team. And now Katy closing in on another one, and Branch has just gone over 150 yards for the day as he takes it down close to the 15-yard line. Aaron Ross makes the tackle.
Yeah, getting back to the format by the UIL right now, if you think about it, in being a third-place finisher in your district, and here we've got you representing, and that just shows you in the playoffs anything can happen. So I'm a fan of having more teams get into the playoffs because I think it's good for the communities, it's good for the schools, and it's littered through since they started. I think Beaumont Westbrook Wavy was the first one, but they were a 6-4 team, and they went on and won the state championship in their inaugural school convergence of Forest Park and Beaumont Hebert.
Back in 1982, they were the state titleists. Less than a minute to go, and Caspar will put down the knee, and Katy will only need to snap it one more time, and then it will be another state championship for Mike Johnston. He knows it now. The people in Katy know it. 97 titleists, 99 finalists, and they're about to be the 2000 state championship, the state champions of Texas in 5A Division II. And Jamel Branch, such an important part of that one. This is the fun time now. We can just stand out there. One more play, down it goes, and Katy can celebrate. Jared Caspar, a big part of that championship, as well as Jamel Branch.
No doubt about it. You talked, Craig, earlier about the consummate team effort. You're absolutely right. This is a total team effort, offensively, defensively. And, really have to take your hat off to the Katy Tigers. And then, again, John Tyler on the other side of that, Craig, also a tip of the hat. Well-deserved. Had a great playoff run. They got in just a little bit overmatched today in this ball game. But, again, nothing to hang your head low on that. On this year's season, this has been an outstanding season. They came off of a 5-5 season last year. Here they are playing in the state championship game.
Katy has become the third team in Texas high school history to win a 5A Division I crown and a Division II state championship. They get the Division II title today, beating John Tyler 35-20. We'll be back here in Houston after this. Katy with the state championship. They beat John Tyler 35-20. And let's go down to Keith Fletcher.
All right, Craig, thanks a lot. First of all, Dr. Charles Braddock, Athletics Director of the UIL, with a trophy presentation.
Coach Johnston, we got your principal, Mr. Blankenship, here at Katy High School. I want to congratulate you. It's been a long road since August. Another state championship, your third. Congratulations on an undefeated season. State champions, 2000.
Thank you very much, Dr. Braddock and UIL. We're excited to be back. It's our vision fulfilled. Our coaches and our players worked extremely hard for this, and like I said, this is just a vision fulfilled. We're really excited about it. Thank you very much.
Coach Johnston, talk about in the second half. You had it pretty tight there in the first, able to open up in the second. You got a big turnover as a catalyst.
Well, I said before the game started, I felt like offensive turnovers in the kicking game would probably tell the difference because everybody's offense and defenses are good. We got a huge kicking game break there and got a touchdown as a result. But a great pump by Michael Meeker and a heads-up play by our coverage group to get that score for us. It gave us a 2-score lead.
This has been a long road for a lot of your seniors. 2 years ago, pulled out of the championship on the eve of a championship. Last year, disappointing loss. Does this heal a lot of wounds?
Well, it's nothing like winning for healing anything. I tell you what, our kids are resilient. Our kids are tough. They've been there, and they've been through some tough times together. still falling apart, point fingers. They're kind of kids, they pull tighter together, and I'm real proud of them.
Is this one of the better teams? Of course, undefeated. The defense has played so well all season. Is this one of the best teams you've ever had?
Well, I just got to say, the record speaks for itself. We've never had a perfect season.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Congratulations. Craig, back upstairs to you.
All right, thanks very much, Keith. And it does speak for itself. All of the numbers speak for itself as Katy winds up as the state champions of 5A Division II. There was only one turnover in the game, but it was a big one, Jay, for the victory.
It was. Aaron Ross going back to field the punt for John Tyler, and he really, Craig, lost sense of where he was on the field as he drifted back close to the end zone. Ball bounces funny, hits him in the thigh, and the coverage team again for Katy jumps on it. Zaveski does, and there's a touchdown, and that's really the big momentum turn in this ball game.
You saw Jared Kaspar, also a very important part of the Katy Tigers getting this state championship. Your 5A Division I state finalist is Midland Lee. Your 5A Division II state champion is Katy. Other state championships still to be decided. I want to remind you the state championship edition, a special Saturday edition of High School Extra Live coming up tonight at midnight. For our producer, Lee Friday, also for our crew here in the booth, and as well for Keith Fletcher and for Shay Walker, I'm Craig Way. We appreciate you joining us. We bid you farewell from Houston, and we wish you a very happy and safe holiday season. The Katy Tigers are champions of 5A Division II. They do it again, beating John Tyler 35-20. For everybody here in Houston, I'm Craig Way. Thanks for joining us. Happy holidays from the Astrodome in Houston.